The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on their light. Tough enough, Dolly Vision's dreaming real. True crime scene blast feels so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Jack's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby? Missing shadows crawl. People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on their light.
YouTube, where's the babies? Where's the babies? Now, in some of these cases, we've been asking that question for years. Some of the cases, just months. But tonight, we're going to talk just about that. Where are these children at? And who has done what to them? Happy 4th of July, all my beautiful people out there watching around the world. America Day. America. Okay. Fireworks going off in the background. People around here, it's, right now it's 12:17 where I'm at. And I've been hearing, nothing but fireworks going off. Everybody celebrating, having a good time. Most people are off tomorrow. Welcome to the Dolly train. Did y'all see the train crash? That's new. I just added that. So when you jump on the Dolly train tonight, which we call the Blessed Express, you will see the train ride off the rails. Okay. And that's what, we're known for around here. Every now and then we ride this train right off the rails into a big explosion. But first, guys, I'm going to need them super chats. Happy 4th to you too, Peggy. Thank you for boarding the Dolly train tonight, the Blessed Express. You ain't blessed unless you ride with the best. Now, let me tell you guys, I'm going to need you to leave your DNA on the like button for me. Act like it's a bottle rocket and you're lighting it up, okay? This is how you start your 4th of July off, by hitting that like button. And, of course, if you're out there watching and you're not subbed up to the channel yet, definitely sub us up, ring the bell for notifications. Help us hit 71,000 subscribers. Holy cow. That is a lot of people. Okay. I want to give my warnings before we get started. Dolly Vision's for entertainment purposes only. We talk news, rumors, gossip, speculations, theories, mixed with a little bit of comedy and a whole lot of chaos. Happy 4th of July to you too. And thank you for getting on the Dolly train with me tonight. So don't take nothing here as fact. It's just my opinion, people. Completely satire. The callers' opinions tonight are theirs and theirs alone, not to reflect on the Dolly. Everyone is innocent to proven guilty. So the people we are talking about tonight, which will be Malaya, Daniel, his family, Forget Me Not. Thank you for joining the Dolly train, getting you a seat. Happy 4th of July to you. And Chris, Katie, Proudfoot, Seth Rogers, probably TikTok Tony. Everybody is innocent to proven guilty. And the biggest one, except for Darwood. Okay, somebody said except for Darwood. He guilty as hell. Guilty of being a busybody. Busybody. Okay, he's guilty of that. He is 100% guilty of being all up in the business. Okay, all up in people's business. But the biggest one of them all is don't try to be Durwood at home. Okay, don't do it. He gets angry and he uses the GD word a lot. Okay, so don't be Durwood at home. You will be spreading misinformation. Okay, you don't want to do it. You don't want to be Durwood or Dolly. You don't want to be either one of us. Okay, so tonight, like I said, we're talking about Jack and Lily Sullivan. Been missing right now for 2 months, 2 days. Also, we're going to touch in on the young man, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Did anybody forget that child? Anybody? I know. I think some of y'all forgot that this little boy is missing out of Hendersonville, Tennessee, here in the States. We've been talking about Canada so much that some of y'all may have forgot the little kids that are missing here. Summer Wells. Apparently, the TBI is going out looking on Ben Hill Road again for Summer Wells. That's not in my title, but I figured I'd throw that in there because I just read that information just a little while ago that they're going to be back out looking for Summer Wells. Army Mom. There you go. Boom. Look at that train. Crying for America. You don't have to cry for us. America's great. The greatest country in the land. Okay. And today we celebrate that, how great our country is. Okay. Just be careful out there. Watch out for people drinking and driving and all that good stuff, right? Just stay safe. Enjoy your holiday. So a lot of you people, you may have forgot some of these kids just because it's the holiday. Diana, thank you for joining up and becoming a member. We can't forget the most important, and that are the ones that have no voice. And here we are the voice for the voiceless. We are team foul play. When something goes down, we make it aware to as many people as we can so we can try to find answers for these kids. Valerie, thank you so much for your super sticker. And Army Mom, thank you for gifting that membership. You guys are absolutely great. Welcome to the Blessed Express. Buckle up now. You never know when this train is going to go off the rails. Where do y'all want to start? Do y'all want to start with Sebastian Rogers, or do you want to start with Jack and Lily Sullivan? Where y'all want to start? Do we want to go into Sebastian Rogers first? Because there's still no answers for this little young man. Okay. And I think we will go into Sebastian first because we've been talking about Jack and Lily for a good minute. Now, when is their arrest coming in either one of these cases? When will there be answers? Right? Because we've been waiting for a while, especially in the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. For anybody, because we have a lot of people watching from Nova Scotia, from different Ontario, Newfoundland, everywhere. So there's a lot of new viewers, and they may not be aware of everything. Happy 4th of July to you, Breezy. Let me share this screen so y'all can hear when somebody super chats, it'll read their message to you. Okay. That way I don't have to read the messages out. All right, let me share that. Boom. Okay. So now y'all should be able to hear the messages and the calls when they come in. Phone lines are not open yet. I want to get through my intro. And then, of course, we will start taking calls. I usually talk for 30 minutes to an hour before we open the phone lines.
Happy 4th in.
Connie, thank you. Happy 4th of July to you. PJ, do you want to say happy 4th of July to everybody?
Happy 4th of July.
Okay, PJ's half awake. I woke her up and she said, well, I hope y'all heard her. She said happy 4th of July to each and every one of you. Ain't it right, babe? See, she said, Okay. So Sebastian Rogers is one of these similar cases to Jack and Lily, but the only difference is Sebastian Rogers was 15 years old, special needs child, diagnosed with autism. Okay. Now, unlike Jack and Lily, they were undiagnosed, but they were believed to have autism. But Sebastian Rogers did. But he was highly functional at 15 with autism. He's not one of these kids that are nonverbal or anything like that. He was verbal. He could talk. He could walk. He could dress himself. He could pretty much take care of himself. And on February 26th of last year, Sebastian Rogers vanished from his Hendersonville home. Now, his mother says they went out to dinner at Texas Roadhouse. Okay. But okay, let me back it up a little bit. First, they went out bowling. Okay. They went out bowling, went to the arcade, had a good time. From the arcade, they left and they went to BJ's, right, which is a wholesale food place that sells a lot of, bulk items. And they go to BJ's and she buys Sebastian Rogers the colossal popcorn. This is why I don't eat colossal popcorns right now or anything that has the word colossal in it. Okay. And it's a good reason to keep your shoes on. If anything you learn in this video, it will be to keep your shoes on at all times. Sleep with them on if you got to. Okay. So they go to BJ's. They have this colossal popcorn. They go back home, drop the food off. They leave home. They go to Texas Roadhouse. Now, if you watch the internet at all, there was a lot of buildup about this Texas Roadhouse, the person in the green hoodie. And it went on for months and months, which was just ridiculous. But we're not going to go there because every YouTuber in the world beat that horse completely dead and into the ground like 36 feet deep. Okay. But they go to Texas Roadhouse. They go home. All right. They arrive at home. She gets Sebastian ready for bed. He goes into his room. She says that Sebastian goes to bed around 9 o'clock that night. Now she hears some banging in Sebastian's room and she hollers out to him, "Hey, keep it down in there." And allegedly Sebastian said, "Okay, Mom, I love you. I love the dogs." Something of that nature. I don't know if that's the exact words, but basically that's what he said. So Katie says she was reading a book, and Katie Proudfoot is the mother. Chris Proudfoot is the stepdad, kind of like Jack and Lily, right? But the difference was Chris Proudfoot was out of town working. He's a heavy crane operator. So he works one of the really big cranes, and they were working on the St. Jude's Hospital.
Where's the baby?
Where's the baby? Okay. Happy 4th of July to you, Maya. I don't know where the babies are at, but we're still tracking and hunting and doing our best to spread awareness, even on the holidays, for these missing children. So Chris Proudfoot was working on the St. Jude's. They were building in, I forget what city they were building in. Well, somebody in the chat can let you know. But he was out of town working. So around 12 o'clock, she's still on the phone with Chris Proudfoot. Okay. They're chatting on the phone while she's reading the book, and she's falling asleep. Okay. So she says she goes to sleep around midnight. Okay. Now, I don't know if they got one of these sliding glass doors that don't make no noise, but apparently, when kids go missing, the doors, Memphis. Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's been so long, I couldn't even remember. I knew he was out of town. He was working in Memphis at the St. Jude's Hospital as a heavy crane operator. So around midnight, she falls asleep. She wakes up around 6 a.m. And when she wakes up, she instantly notices Sebastian is gone. Okay. But the weird thing is, all the doors are locked.
Window seat, please.
Window seat.
Admission tickets emoji.
Y'all like the train blowing up? That's a good one, right? That's a good one. But yeah, she wakes up and all the doors are locked. Now, here's the one thing. I hate to jump around, but remember in the Jack and Lily situation, they said that they woke up and they believed the kids went out the sliding glass door. One thing they didn't ever say was the door open or closed when they woke up, right? Because you heard them say that, you know, Daniel had to always get on to him about shutting the door. But the day that they went missing, was the door open or closed? I honestly don't know that answer. I don't think they ever mentioned. They just said the door was very quiet and they couldn't hear it, but they never said if it was open or closed. People were saying it was open a bit. How much is a bit? Okay, a little bit, a whole lot of bit, or wide open a bit. Okay, there's a lot in a little bit, right? So, but anyway, in the Sebastian Rogers case, all the doors were locked. There's no signs of forced entry into the home. And Katie Proudfoot looks around the house, allegedly, and she can't find Sebastian. So she jumps on the phone to her husband, okay, which is the stepfather of Sebastian Rogers, but she never calls the biological father to let him know that the kids are missing. I wonder if Malaya called the biological father. I think not, right? So this is two situations where kids go missing and neither parent reaches out to the other full-blooded parent, right? Just to the step parents, both cases. You know, Daniel was there, and I believe that Malaya called her mama before she called the police. But in this situation, she calls Chris Proudfoot, and she tells Chris Proudfoot that Sebastian's missing and she's panicking, running around looking for him. And apparently she jumps in the car and drives to the school. Now, here's the thing. It was kind of too early for Sebastian to go to school when she started to panic.
Ride that train and hit that thumbs up emoji, thumbs up emoji, thumbs up emoji, thumbs up emoji.
Okay. Now, when the voice thing is on that reads the chats, we have a 2 emoji limit. Okay. Because that way it don't, you know, cycle through all these emojis reading it out loud. So if you super chat, remember you get 2 emojis, use them wisely. Okay. So she gets on the phone with Chris Proudfoot and, you know, she's riding to the school, allegedly riding to the school. Now, this is where some things get a little strange. Okay. So she's on the phone with Chris Proudfoot. Chris Proudfoot decides to call the authorities because Sebastian is missing. Okay. So he calls allegedly on 3-way. Now, this is where I get a little skeptical of the story. He calls on 3-way to the sheriff's office, right? He calls the sheriff's office. He don't call 911, and he calls them from Memphis. All right. Now, allegedly, Katie Proudfoot was supposed to be on 3-way on this call. Okay. Then Chris tells Katie, go back to the house. The police are on their way there. Okay. Now, the thing is this. If Katie was on the phone on 3-way, wouldn't she have known the police were coming? Right? Wouldn't she have been like, okay, we're sending officers. They're on the way there now. Wouldn't she have known that the police were coming? Why did Chris have to tell her to go back home? The police were coming. If she was on 3-way, I truly believe she was never on 3-way myself, but that's part of the story. So she goes back home. You know, a massive manhunt starts to search for Sebastian Rogers. One of the biggest searches in Tennessee history at that. Helicopters, fixed wing planes, horseback, even the SWAT team was out there searching for Sebastian Rogers. They had dogs. The dogs tracked a couple different places. Ashley, thank you.
Happy 4th of July, PJ, Dolly and crew.
Ha-
Appreciate ya.
Happy 4th of July to you. Welcome to the Blessed Express. Put your seatbelt on. You see how that train be riding, right? It rides right off the rails, right? So they got dogs, and the dogs go to a water retention pond, okay? And one of them leads to a construction site. But when police come out and actually tell us, hey, the dogs never really hit a track, right? They were just running around. That came from the head detective. So a lot of people were thinking that Sebastian may have went to the construction site, or he may have went to this little retention pond. Thank you, Linda. And, so they drained the retention pond anyway. Nothing in the retention pond. I go to these ponds, and believe it or not, the ponds are no deeper than a little bit above your knee, maybe up to your waist at the max. And each pond in the bottom of the ponds have a big metal grate. And the grate is probably 500-600 pound metal steel. And there's no way little Sebastian Rogers could have lifted this or got sucked into it or anything. So he was not there. And there was no signs of him at the construction site whatsoever. So the head detective came out and said, well, the dogs really never hit on a trail. They never hit a scent.
Hope Lolo and Wrangler survived the fireworks.
Ru-
Romantic face emoji.
Ye-
Dog emoji.
Yes, Wrangler is pretty good with the fireworks. It don't really phase him. Lolo is scared to death of the fireworks. But I'll get into that in a minute. So basically, the dogs never really tracked on anything, just like the Jack and Lily case. They went to the driveway, and in Sebastian's case, they actually went out to the mailbox where the trash was, because apparently Sebastian that night had took out the trash. So the dogs only tracked to the end of the street, and then they didn't track nowhere else. Okay. So, again, the manhunt starts. They do a full good week, 10-day search. And I mean, woods, volunteers, everybody out there searching and searching for Sebastian Rogers, and absolutely nothing. Now, in this time, unlike Malaya, Katie Proudfoot comes out and she does a couple interviews. But just like Malaya, she seems a little emotionless, okay? Not a lot of tears. It almost seems forced. It don't seem very scripted, though. What Malaya said seemed very scripted. What Katie said didn't seem so scripted, but didn't talk about Sebastian in a super caring way, like you would think most parents would. They talked about him being up in people's face and him having problems with social distancing, and just that they described him like his autism was really bad. Okay. Now his father, Seth Rogers, described a totally different kid, that it was a good kid, highly functional, happy. He described him like a parent would.
I think laws need to change in how law enforcement handles missing children as soon as a report is made.
Absolutely, redfish, bluefish. I was going to just get into that. And thank you and welcome aboard the Dolly train. Happy 4th of July to you. I hope you have a great one. Yeah, I've been saying this, that they need to handle missing kids, even if they're teenagers, because Sebastian Rogers, 15 years old, he's turned 16 since he's been missing. So he's 16 years old right now. They need to treat it as a crime scene, the home. Okay. Usually they go out and they start immediately searching. They don't really, quarantine that area. Even Sebastian Rogers' home. I don't know about Jack and Lily in Canada, if they sealed it off, got everybody out, no movement in the house, to we're able to go in the house, search, do all these things. And they do need to treat these runaway kids as a crime until they know it's not a crime. And if that's something in the laws that we could change, I would love to see that change. It's Dolly law. We quarantine these places, we lock it down, we take you to the police station, you stay there till we find these kids. Dolly law. Okay. If you're there with your kids and they go missing, Dolly law comes into effect. we lock your ass down and we figure out where these kids are. Art Lady says, I've been a subscriber since the start. Dolly. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you've been here, Art Lady. That is super awesome of you. You've been, it's been a long ride. Thank you guys. Thank you for everybody that's been here with me these 4 years that we've been, rocking this journey of true crime and trying to bring answers to these missing kids. It's man, time flies, right? Time flies. But, they didn't treat Sebastian Rogers' home like a crime scene.
Dolly and PJ are the best. God bless America. Folded hands emoji.
Amen to that. America. Okay. The home of the free and the brave. Thank you for jumping on the Dolly train with us tonight. The Blessed Express. Good things are coming to you, right? 4th of July. It's a good time to be blessed. Okay. Good time to be blessed. And you are on the Express, rocking with the best. Okay. Okay. So didn't treat it like a crime scene. They treated Sebastian Rogers like he was just a basic runaway. Now, a lot of people, and I mean a lot,
riding on the Blessed Express. Buckled up. It's a bumpy ride.
It's a bumpy ride. You see where that train is heading. Right? So a lot of people don't think Sebastian Rogers ran away. There's a lot of people that think something took place inside that home and they done something with Sebastian, that he's off living his best life on a reservation somewhere. Okay. I just made up the reservation part because it just kind of fits the story. Okay. Because a lot of people believe that Jack and Lily are living their best life on a reservation. People don't want to accept the fact that people are crazy and will hurt their kids. Most people rather keep hope alive and be like, well, they hid them somewhere. So a lot of people came out and said, they've hid Jack and Lily somewhere. And they said the same thing about Sebastian Rogers, because information came out later in the Sebastian Rogers case before Sebastian went missing. Hold on.
Baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet. Happy 4th.
Bam!
America.
That describes America in a nutshell right there. Okay. Not too many people watch baseball that much. I remember it's America's pastime. Baseball was, when I was a kid, everybody was huge baseball fans. And now baseball's kind of a dying sport. It's like as soon as they let all the Cubans and like the Haitians in the baseball and they took over, like America don't watch baseball as much. So now I think you should replace baseball with football, right? More people watch football. But when I was a kid, everybody loved baseball, no matter what. And now not as many people like baseball. But America, the 4th, it's our day. It's our day, Canada. Okay. You can't have none of it. We ain't sharing. I'm playing. So anyway, a lot of people believe that this kid was put somewhere because before he went missing, there were CPS reports made, kind of like the legend in the Jack and Lily Sullivan case that the CPS was involved. Just like the Summer Wells case, CPS was involved before these child went missing. So there's a lot of kids that for some reason, once social services gets involved, they vanish, right? For whatever reason it is, they just poof, up and gone. So before he went missing, it came out that Chris and Katie and the biological father, Seth Rogers, were working together to put Sebastian in a home for special needs children. Okay. Nina, thank you for your super sticker. That is awesome of you. So, in the beginning, they were talking about Sebastian like he was so loved and how they wanted him home and, oh my God, we miss him. But in reality, they were trying to place Sebastian in a permanent home for kids with disabilities. So it kind of sounded like, hey, they didn't want Sebastian. That's what it sounded like to me. And they were telling these stories how everybody wanted him, right? And Seth was like, I wanted him to come stay with me. He's my son. I named him, boo-hoo, right? But at the same time, Seth was also out there looking for a home to put his child in. And then, of course, this case takes a weird twist and turn Daniel said that the door was closed, Dolly. Okay, thank you. As a crying shame, it's good to see you. I seen you had a behavioral expert on your channel. I didn't get a chance to watch that today because I was out running around. I had to buy a weed eater. Okay, that's how great my day was. What'd you do today, Dolly? I went and bought a weed eater. Okay, and a lawnmower, right? Like a push mower, right? I had to get a push mower and a weed eater. I need to cut some grass. Okay, um, because I can't get my riding lawnmower around my deck and pool, so I need to cut the grass. So I got it off Marketplace, a little push mower that don't have a motor. You just push it. You know, it's like one of the ones that has a little spinning blade, and so I can cut around my pool. I only paid $40 for it. I got a deal on it. It's pretty nice for $40 too. I was kind of surprised. So every now and then you can get a pretty good deal on Marketplace. I'm like a Marketplace junkie. Okay. I always buy stuff secondhand. I'm just one of those. I ain't rich, right? So I got me a little used push mower so I could cut my damn grass around my pool because I have rocks around it. And if I try to get close to it with the riding lawnmower, I don't want it to shoot a rock through my pool. So I was like, okay, I need something else to cut the grass with around the pool area. The rest of it, I can ride my little riding lawnmower, you know, and cut the grass. But right in that area, I can't unless I want to take a chance of putting a hole in a pool that I just put up. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So y'all like Marketplace too? Okay, just be careful when you buy things on Marketplace. You know, we shared that story. And even tonight, when I got the little push mower, we got it in the worst area. Okay, I don't know why they had such a nice little push mower in the hood. I mean, it's straight Debo on a bike riding around hood.
Again, it's not unusual for parents of teenage autistic children to look for placement in group homes. Not saying it's right, but not unusual.
It's not unusual. Okay, it's not unusual if your kid has special needs to try to get that kid some help. But when you're up here, like your world is ending and you just want them home, but you were just trying to get rid of them. You know, that's what I'm saying. It made it look a little different once we realized Chris and Katie were trying to get rid of Sebastian Rogers. So anyway, they searched for a good week, 10 days, nothing. Huge search. So they give it a little bit, and then they come back about a week later, and they search one more time. And I mean, when I say search, I mean they brought out everything they could. I mean, all law enforcement, every sector of law enforcement. Like I said, they even had the SWAT team out there searching for Sebastian Rogers. Second search turned up nothing. Okay. They Joe dirted Sebastian. We're going to get to that.
Oh, the other SR story is insane.
So at this point, Katie, right, within the first week before the second search. So after the first week, I fly down to Tennessee to help in the search for Sebastian Rogers. Okay, but when I get there, it is pure T shit show. Okay, shit show. Like it was a waste of a plane ticket. Now, it really wasn't a waste for me because what it did do was draw attention to it. And a lot of people got to see what was really going on in Tennessee. So I believe, even though I don't want to feel like my trip was wasted, so I tell myself this, but it did. It brought a lot of awareness to it. Not only did I, but JLR and Trev Time, the few of us that actually emerged onto Hendersonville, Tennessee, it brought a lot of attention to YouTube. And then soon as we started talking about it, other people started talking about it, and it just lit on fire like a wildfire. It was everywhere on the internet. National news, national people picking it up. And this was my hopes for Jack and Lily, right? Enough of us talk about it, they're going to pick it up. And mainstream media and national coverage will get some national coverage. But everybody didn't, you know, Canada, everybody's just like, they didn't, true crime really didn't latch on to Jack and Lily like I was hoping they would.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July to you too, Nina. But it's not too late, right? especially if you go into these true crime channels, you start bringing up Jack and Lily, right? Bring them up, get them talking about it, because the more people that talk about it, the more, we want it to get national exposure, and it hasn't, right? We ain't seen Court TV talk about it. We ain't seen Nancy Grace talk about it. America's Most Wanted hasn't picked it up. And you would think they did that for one teenage kid. This is two babies missing, Jack and Lily, right? This is, they can't be okay. If they're on their own, they're not with us. Let's be honest. If these kids are on their own, out in the woods or wandered off somewhere, they're not with us. And I truly don't believe they've been hid, just like Sebastian. So I go down there. They have brought in the father. There was a group of people that go by. I don't want to say their name because they're lawsuit happy, but we just call them the Raging Cajuns. Okay. And they are a legitimate organization, nonprofit, that's for all profit. To make that make sense. This nonprofit group is the biggest profiting group, scammers out there. And when I got there, they didn't want no help. They threatened to call the police on me, was trying to fight with me in the parking lot. And as soon as they found out I was a YouTuber, they didn't want me there. They didn't want me there because some people don't want the truth to be told. Okay. They want to push this narrative of what all they're doing when really they're not doing nothing to help find this kid. So I exposed that. And not only did I expose it, but JLR exposed it. Okay. So I don't think if any one of us would have said that, people would have believed us. Right. But me and JLR are not connected. We've never talked. We never really officially met. We've been in same crime scenes and same cases, but never really ever talked. Never. But we both came out and gave the same exact story. This is a fraud. These people are fake. They're not really looking for Sebastian Rogers. They're more worried about standing in front of cameras than they are searching the woods or trying to find these kids. And so it was a big fraud that was taking place. So these people could bring attention to themselves to help push their organization. And it's horrible. I would never in a million years do anything for that organization. And any chance I get, I'm going to tell people, hey, they're a joke. It's bad. I mean, just like Dog the Bounty Hunter. Okay. Just all to build promotion off the back of a missing young man, a special needs kid at that. Evil in this world is real, and people don't realize what they're doing when they're doing it, but it's purely disgusting, right? I love story time with Dolly, all right? So basically, once we expose the Raging Cajuns, they start saying they're getting death threats. Nobody death threatened them, right? But people exposed them for being frauds and fakes. And they said, hey, we got to pull out because we're scared for our people. They pulled out because nobody brought them chairs to sit in. I shit you not. They said, what can the public do to help? They wanted chairs. What do you need chairs for? Are you going to be sitting down while you looking for Sebastian Rogers? I need a lot of things in search efforts. Maybe a four-wheeler, maybe some boots, maybe a mosquito net. But to ask for a damn chair, and we want chairs. Which you don't need no damn chairs. Get your ass out there and look for them kids. So they started to say they were getting death threats, and they pulled out. Out that time, I'm only on a budget because I ain't rich. So about that time, I had to fly back out to come to Virginia. So I fly back out, come back to Virginia, and then the police do the second search. And this is a wide-scale search, miles around the house, hundreds of people out there searching. And still, they find nothing of Sebastian Rogers. And in this time frame, between the first search and the second search, before that, before the Raging Cajuns left, Katie Proudfoot left the home. Okay. So within, say, the first week or so, she packed up her stuff and went out the state to stay with her husband, Chris.
Did you see Nancy today? She is so mad about Diddy.
Yeah, she's on the Diddy, rich people privilege thing. And thank you so much for that super sticker. And welcome to the train, Carrie A. All right. And happy 4th of July to you. And Tammy, thank you so much for your super sticker. Happy 4th of July to you. So basically, what she did was she packed up and left while her kid was missing within the first week. So when I was down there, I go by the house, there's nobody there. There's nobody at the residence where Sebastian Rogers went missing. It's like a ghost town. Lights are on, but nobody's home. So basically, a lot of people were saying they Joe dirted Sebastian Rogers. If he was to come home, there was nobody there. As a matter of fact, his grandparents during this time, they traveled to Alaska. His mother leaves the state to go with Chris for no reason. Had no reason really to go. She just dirted him. Like, we're out. He's not coming home. It's like they knew Sebastian wasn't going to be found. Like, they knew it. If you thought your kid was missing and you're special needs kid, would you leave that house? Dolly's only child is dying. Save me. Tiff, I hope you do feel better, baby girl. Okay. Get some rest, and that's the only way you're going to feel better. If you relax, take that medicine I got you, and just chill out and take it easy. You worked all day today. You probably should have called out of work, but just get you some rest, drink plenty of fluids, and let me know how you feel in the morning. And if you need to, I'll go to the doctor with you or wherever you need to go. Okay. But basically, they Joe dirted the kid. Gone. Nobody there for him to come back to. Now, look at this case with Jack and Lily Sullivan. Malaya. Okay. Oh, and by this point, Katie Proudfoot stopped speaking to a media. No media appearances. Never begged for the safe return of her child. Who does that sound like? Just like Malaya, but Malaya did it day one. Okay. Did it day one. Left the kid, right? And just bounced. Never begged or pleaded for the safe return of her child. But she came out the first interview and said she believed the child was abducted, but never spoke directly to the children, never spoke directly to the kidnapper, nothing. Just like Katie Proudfoot. Both of them left, and both of them stopped talking to the media completely.
Happy 4th from Michigan.
Happy 4th, Tammy. And happy 4th, Nina. Thank you, guys. I like the train riding off the rails.
4th of July 25th.
Yes, yes. So basically the same scenario transpired. And then Katie, of course, didn't say nothing for the whole first year. All right. So once she stopped giving interviews, she didn't give any more interviews to the 1 year anniversary of the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. Then she goes on TV, okay, and she seems a little more emotional. And I still not a lot of emotion. Don't get me wrong. I said just a little, because the first interview she had no emotion. But a year later, she was trying to play it up. And from what I understand, she had lawyers there with her to make sure the media didn't ask her certain questions. And, that's from what I heard. I don't know if that's true. That could be allegedly. That was coming from the father of Sebastian Rogers, that Katie showed up at them interviews with her legal team. Okay. Which we never really knew that she lawyered up, right? There was never no proof that Katie ever lawyered up. Only thing we know is that came from Seth Rogers, and sometimes Seth Rogers would say things that were like he was upset, and we don't know how truthful those things were, because it seemed he was pretty opportunist. He raised a lot of money, right? In the first couple weeks of Sebastian Rogers going missing, this man, I would say, raised upwards of $50,000, and there was no reward. Okay, he raised 25 alone on his GoFundMe, and everybody was sharing his Cash App. So I'm going to say roughly probably $50,000 in the first couple weeks of the child being missing, and never offered no reward for the child, which was bad. Why was there no reward for the child? Okay. In this time frame, in this whole time frame of everything that transpired, it turned into a complete circus. All right. A spokesperson, alleged spokesperson, which I believe to this day is, bye, baby girl. You need anything, just call me. The alleged spokesperson was no more than what I believe to be a fraud con artist. Okay. That's truly what I believe. And they brought in a bunch of YouTubers that were straight up crazy. And there ain't no other word, or grifters, opportunist. I looked at Seth Rogers like an opportunist, and then he teamed up with a bunch of other opportunists. So that's how I knew I wasn't wrong in saying, hey man, this dude seems a little bit like an opportunist. I still feel bad for him because his son's missing, and that's horrible, in any case. But I just felt like, man, he's responsible for a lot of the shit show that took place in this by surrounding himself with really bad people. And matter of fact, one of those people right now are making videos about Jack and Lily, right? With some tumbleweed hair and just a piece of shit person. But that's neither here nor there. But he kind of aligned himself with all these bad people, and they turned it into a complete shit show. It was going downhill fast. It was like a rolling turd. No lie. So, it was just, people bashing Chris and Katie, which is understandable because a lot of people believe still to this day, they're my number one suspects in the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. I don't believe that Sebastian ever walked away from that house. I believe he was taken out of that home in a vehicle. Now, I don't know when exactly that morning or what transpired, but there was one little piece of evidence that did come out in the Sebastian Rogers case. And that was a video surfaced of what looked like some moving lights behind the house. Okay. It looked like two flashlights possibly moving behind the house. Now, there was different rumors of what that was. The biological father came up on this channel and said he seen a video that the police showed him, and it was a trash truck. Okay. Completely. That's what he said. All right. Now, a lot of people disagree that it wasn't a trash truck. A lot of people don't buy that trash truck shit. But the biological father, Seth Rogers, came onto this channel and said, Dolly, the police showed me a video, a clearer video from the camera, and it's nothing more than a trash truck. Then, when he aligns himself with these opportunists, that's what I'm going to call them, right? Opportunists. He started saying it ain't a trash truck. His story completely changed. Now, I don't believe it was a trash truck myself, right? I never really believed it was a trash truck. But he doubled down on it when he came here and said it's just a trash truck. He seen the whole video. He knows it was a trash truck, but didn't sort of change his story. Now, right now, as we speak, the only person out there really still fighting for Sebastian is his father, Seth. Okay? So Seth hasn't given up on Sebastian, which is good to see. And a lot of these people, these bad people that have surrounded their self with Seth, have seemed to fall off or be more interested in Jack and Lily than Sebastian. So these people have kind of, we love Sebastian, and then as soon as a bigger story comes along, they're gone. They just deuces, bitch, right? I'm out. See you later. There's other stories, there's other things that bring bigger clicks and views, and Sebastian don't do that anymore. Okay. So people just were like, hey, the hell with the kid, hell looking for him. They love Seth. We ride or die, Seth. We're with you to the end. And then the last video we see of Seth is Seth in front of the police station crying by himself. right? Which is horrible to see. I still feel bad for Seth, I had a hard time with Seth when he was surrounding himself with these bad people. And I'm surprised that none of these people have leached on to Daniel or Malaya. But here's the thing, they're in Canada. Okay. Most of these people are fucking criminals and they probably couldn't even get into Canada. So I think that's why nobody has really leached on to Daniel or Malaya, or they ain't sitting in the fucking bushes as we speak, is because they can't get into Canada. Even Dolly. I ain't got my passport right now, so I can't get in. But to see them all gone and Sebastian Rogers still missing, really no sightings in over a year and a half, right? Where is this child at? Did Katie get away with murder? Did she get away with it? Now, I've always believed that Chris Proudfoot may have some knowledge, but I don't believe that Chris Proudfoot was there when Sebastian Rogers went missing. A lot of people on the internet swear, and the whole internet was blaming Chris Proudfoot. Blame Chris Proudfoot. Blame Chris Proudfoot. Listen, I was suspicious of him, but there's no proof that Chris was ever there that night. But people don't care about proof up here on the internet. They don't care. They'll swear to it that he has something to do with it, right? I never truly believed that. I believe that because Katie and Chris had a 4-hour phone call, that in that phone call, she panicked, did something to Sebastian, and then called him for help. And he assisted her over the phone. Like, this is what you need to do. And he knows, right? Just like I believe Daniel knows that something happened and he's covering for Malaya. Just like I believe Chris Proudfoot is covering for Katie Proudfoot. Right? So we got 719 likes. We got 1,500 people in the room on 4th of July, and y'all ain't hit my damn like. What? What? Do me a favor, guys. Take a second and light up that like button like it's the 4th of July. Okay? That's a good one, wasn't it? It kind of fit. That's what Don Wells did too, right? Took up for Candace Wells. Absolutely. There's a lot of men that cover for their women. Okay. Love is a powerful thing. You will do stupid shit when you love somebody, right? You'll help them cover. You say you won't, but most people will help the person you love, even if they do something horrible, right? You shouldn't, but it happens. So Sebastian missing, nothing really big has come out of this. And, so many people thought, hey, he's been placed somewhere. They hid him somewhere. But there was no reason to hide Sebastian. Just like there's no reason to hide Jack and Lily Sullivan. Now, so many people come in here and say they believe that Jack and Lily is on a reservation. Okay? So many people said this same type of stuff. They even said that Sebastian was in Alaska, living in an igloo with Eskimos. Okay? I shit you not. But now, I believe if you ask people where Sebastian is, they'll say Sebastian Rogers is no longer with us. He's gone. Now, nobody's been arrested for Sebastian Rogers. Right? There wasn't but one person with him. And that person abandoned their child, didn't cooperate with authorities. Well, she talked to authorities, but just because you talk to authorities don't mean you are cooperating with the authorities. All right, well, you're not telling the truth. I mean, you talked to them. You probably told them a bunch of damn lies, but she talked to the authorities. They never said she was clear. They never ruled out everybody as a suspect, but they did say she was vetted. We vetted the stories of the parents and they seemed to check out. But they never used the word the parents are clear of any wrongdoing. Okay? And my point of this story is this, is all them people that said Sebastian Rogers was hid now don't believe Sebastian Rogers is with us anymore. Right? Even the people on the other side that was on Seth's side that believed they placed this kid somewhere, they were absolutely wrong. Okay?
Dolly prayers for Savannah. We had a shooting in our mall. There were 3 or 4 people shot. JLR was covering it.
Yes. Listen, we live in a crazy world and a crazy time. You got to be careful, be vigilant when you go to these places where that are large amounts of people and open to the public. There are crazy people in this world, and you got to protect yourself at all times. It's like the UFC. You know, when you get into the octagon, what do they tell you? Protect yourself at all times. Just think of the world we live in like the octagon. Protect yourself at all times. And I understand about the whole mall shooting. We went over that with my daughter when there was an active shooter in the mall that my daughter worked at, and she was barricaded in a room. And, you know, I was on the phone with 911, and they're trying to rescue my daughter out the mall. Tiff was just in here too. That was scary. It's a scary situation for anything that goes down like that. So to get back to the point that I'm trying to make in this is so many people thought Sebastian was hid. Them same people don't believe that anymore. All right. Sebastian been gone now for almost 2 years. They thought he was going to pop up. Here I am. Just, walk back in the door one day, and they were going to, they were lying to the authorities, and it was a hoax. Sebastian's really not gone, right? But now people are starting to accept the fact that Sebastian is gone and he's no longer with us. So, the other night I asked a question, how many people believe, and we'll ask it again. We'll ask it again right now. I want you guys to like this video. And if you think these children are alive and on a reservation, like the video and press 1 in the chat. If you believe these kids are no longer with us, I want you to like the video and press 2 in the chat. 1, they're alive on a reservation. 2, they ain't with us. Okay, but like the video first. Okay. Okay, I see some ones already. Jackie. Okay, a lot of ones, right? Okay, a lot of you guys believe these kids are alive on a reservation. All right. A lot of people believe the kids are dead too. 1, but not on a res. Okay. 1, but not on a res. 1. You guys think this without one speck of proof of life. Okay. Y'all believe this with no evidence that points that direction. Okay. I just want to let you know this. Everybody that's pressing 1, the dude, no proof of life, no evidence that these children are alive. Nobody's not a sighting, but y'all believe this. Okay. Y'all believe this. I'm not knocking you for what you believe, right? What I'm trying to do is educate you on other stories that are similar where people said the same thing. Summer Wells, 4 years. The church got Summer Wells and they took her away because Don was abusing her. Sounds similar, don't it? That the kids are somewhere living their best life, but yet they're never, ever seen again. Never.
Oh, yeah.
All right. 50-50. I think more people believe the kids are deceased than they do alive. But what I wanted to bring to your attention is this. So when I asked that question the other night, I said, well, 6 months from now, will you be saying the same thing? And most people that press 1 said, no, Dolly, I will go with the kids are deceased. Then why wait the 6 months? Why wait? You have no absolute proof of life. Your evidence is coming from what you did here is hearsay coming from somebody that completely lied to authorities, lied to the media, and y'all are taking pieces of that and believing these children are alive. Guys, it's almost insane. Okay? It's almost insane. It's no different than any of these other stories What makes you think that this story is special or this story is different? Okay? There's more proof that these children are not with us than they are with us. If we just talking statistics and odds, the odds statistically and the odds are these children are dead. Okay, that's the odds. That's the statistics. 48 hours, the chances of these kids being found alive is 50%. Every day that goes past that is more and more the odds of these children being alive go down. I mean, listen, you're betting on a huge, huge underdog. Okay, this thing about this is like fighting. The kids are not with us. Fighter is undefeated. 36 wins, 36 knockouts. Your fighter, 36 fights, 36 losses. Fighting the champ. That's your odds. Okay, we know the undefeated fighter is going to knock out that fighter every time. It ain't, you got a puncher's chance, right? And, you know, a puncher's chance to me,
I think folks just want to believe the kids are okay. It's so hard to think about them being gone.
absolutely. And you are absolutely right, Katie. It's hopeful thinking, right? And now you got a puncher's chance. You know what a puncher's chance is in this situation? A miracle. Now, I pray to God that y'all do believe in miracles, because I believe in miracles. Okay. I'm a religious person. I believe the Lord is my Lord and Savior, Jesus. And I believe miracles happen. They happen every day. But we need a miracle, right? At this point, we would need it would have to be an absolute miracle. But there's nothing surrounding this that a miracle can come from. For anybody that's been in true crime for as long as me, we already know the outcome of this. It's just a matter of time, if ever, that they find these children. And when they find these children, it ain't going to be around a campfire making s'mores, okay? It's not going to be living their best life. Because one, there's no reason to hide these kids, just like there was no reason to hide Sebastian. Summer Wells, there could have been a reason to hide Summer Wells, right? But I don't believe they hid Summer Wells either. So for all you people that think these kids are out there, I just beg to differ with you. And I believe that y'all believe in hearsay and rumors and not what's being told to the RCMP. Okay, if Janie would have seen Malaya at the road in a car, putting kids in a car, like they claim now, would the police have been searching the woods, or would they have issued an Amber Alert and had Malaya down there until she told? Because they told the police a different story in the beginning. That's why I think Summer was sold. I don't think she was sold. I don't think she was sold. Summer Wells tragically lost her life that day in a hot vehicle. Listen, guys, I sat there with Don and Candace Wells. You know, I've been down there with Sebastian Rogers, sat there with Leilani Simon. There's one thing that I do have some experiences, and that's being with parents that have lost their kids. Candace is destroyed. I don't know why, if it's because she did something and she feels regret, or there really ain't no or to me. I just think she's upset because of what happened to Summer, and she knows, and she felt like she would get in trouble if she told. Okay. Now they know Summer ain't going to be found. They make that clear. And if Summer was sold, you couldn't be confident that she would never be found. I don't believe they sold Summer, and Candace is not emotionless, right? Candace is a lot different than Malaya, than Katie Proudfoot, than Leilani Simon, any of these mothers. She's way different. I mean, you can't even put it on the same scale.
Thank you, Dolly, for covering Sebastian again. Heart suit emoji, disappointed face emoji, that poor child, broken heart emoji. I pray he's with us, but it's hard, disappointed face emoji.
Absolutely. And thank you for getting on the Blessed Express tonight. And thank you, Nana 10, for becoming a member. So we haven't forgot Sebastian. And we need to learn things from each and every one of these kids that go missing. It's important, right? Not just to know the story of Jack and Lily, but know the story of all these kids and the circumstances they went missing. Because if you start to look, you'll start to see similarities. Okay? And if you see similarities, most likely it's going to be the same outcome. Okay. The only mother that I've seen like Malaya, personally, in my experience, I've seen a lot of mothers like her, but the only one that I personally had experience with and talked to that acted and behaved like Malaya, and honestly gave more interviews than Malaya, was Leilani Simon. Completely emotionless, didn't care. She didn't really care. And Megan Boswell, she didn't care either. Okay. Now, I seen Megan Boswell. I was at Megan Boswell's court hearing with her when she was sentenced, but I never really got to sit down and talk to Megan Boswell. Leilani Simon, I got to sit and talk with. Okay. And we know what she did. She's sitting in prison right now for killing her baby and throwing it in a dumpster. Malaya is a lot like Leilani. Sometimes I look at them and they kind of even look alike. I'm like, oh man, this is another Leilani Simon. This, like I tell people, it's like watching a movie you done seen. I done did this one time before, right? And all the signs are the same, right? And if you're seeing the exact same signs you've seen in a mother who murdered her kids and threw them in a dumpster, and you're seeing all those same signs, you got to think that she's responsible. Okay, you got to. And it sounds great that, that the kids are alive and well and they living on a reservation but that's not true. That is to take the heat off of them. All right. They've done it since the beginning. They planted in people's heads that these kids were abducted from the very beginning. They'll talk to anybody. They'll get in the car with anybody. They love everybody. They'll run up to you into the store. They were trying to take the blame off of themselves from the very start of this. And it's only a matter of time before we see somebody in handcuffs. Okay? There's only a matter of time. And even in the AI picture, you see Malaya crying, right? That ain't real. Because Malaya hasn't cried one tear. Right? I just wanted to see her cry. Right? It just makes me feel better inside, right? But this woman, she has never looked like this in this picture. Okay? She's crying. That's AI generated. That ain't her actually crying, because this woman has never shed a tear. Never. Right? She's been just as stone-faced as Katie Proudfoot. And to be honest with you, Katie Proudfoot in that last interview, I don't know if she poked herself in the eye or what she did, but she had a few tears in her eyes. And I guess she was trying to, make a comeback because, people on the internet were destroying her. Like, what parent leaves their kid? What parent Joe Dirt's their kid? Malaya did the exact same thing. These two women that are on the screen are not much different. Now, if I asked y'all how many people think Sebastian Rogers are alive, I guarantee you there's less than there is that say Jack and Lily are alive. But it's the same story. It's always the same story. Visine, there's a lot of people out here who love their kids with all their heart and would do anything for their kid, and they would jump in front of a bullet for their kids. Then there's people out here that don't give two damns. Only thing they care about is their self and what they want for their self. Some kids are a burden to people. And it's hard for people with a normal mind to believe that. Okay? It's hard. It's hard to accept that people have no love or empathy in their hearts or lack of emotion, right? Because a normal person is going to have all the emotions, right? If you're normal, you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to be angry, you're going to have all the emotions, jealousy, everything. You're going to have all that in you, right? And if you don't, there's a reason why, because you damn Brian Kohlberger, and you could go into a house and stab 4 people to death. You're probably a damn serial killer or not far from it. And when people are like zombies, right? You just a walking shell of a person. There may be reasons you've become that, because listen, I don't know what type of life Malaya lived. I know Katie had it bad. Katie's mother her family's not the best. But here's the thing, just because you come from a bad family and you got effed up people in your family, don't mean you're bad. Okay? You can come from a whole thing of rotten apples and you be the one good apple. But when the apple don't fall far from the tree, and now your kid is missing, your mother is this lady's my neighbor. She lives in the neighborhood with me, Katie Proudfoot's mother, for anybody that don't know, here in Virginia. And she's on 99 years probation for crimes against children. Now her daughter is missing a child under crazy circumstances. It gets a little like, it sounds like Katie was groomed as a child by her future husband. Okay, I know people don't like when I say that, but hey, the man said himself, I waited till she turned 18. That is disgusting, because that means you was thinking about it. If you waited for her to turn 18, so that means you were thinking about it when she was 17, but you was like, okay, I'm going to wait till a week from now when she's 18. Does that make it any different? When you wait on a kid, it sounds like grooming to me, right? You groomed this child, and when she turned 18, you started having sexual relations with her. And that's if you believe what the person's saying. It was almost disgusting to hear a grown-ass man say he waited for a kid to turn 18. Like, anybody else find that disturbing? Or is it just me? Right? Or is it just me? I'm like, you waited, right? You could have said, I wasn't even thinking about that. Then when she turned 18, we found that we had a lot of things in common and we hooked up. You don't say you waited on a kid to turn 18. I waited. That shit is weird. That is like you right, were thinking her a certain way when she was a child, and you waited. That right? Oh my God! If I heard a man say that about my child, I'd be to knock his teeth down his fucking throat. Joe, you better watch what you say in here, Joe. We don't play that. Okay, depends on the girl, is what he said. No, it don't. A child is a child. What could you have a conversation with a child about? Like, why would you want to date a girl so young that you have absolutely nothing, unless it's sexual of nature? And then you got some weird, creepy things going on with you, right? Like, if you grown, you should like grown people. Kids should like kids. Grown people shouldn't be liking kids. You know what I got in common with a kid? Anybody under 30? Nothing. Nothing. Zero. What kind of conversation are we going to have? No conversation, because I don't know your world. You're 20 years younger than me. Like, what the hell? I don't even know what TV shows you watch. I don't know nothing about your world. I got a kid that age. Like, that is weird. That is absolutely insane. So to me, I just think Katie had a bad life, when she was abused. I mean, it is what it is. And then we got Malaya, which I don't know the circumstances of Malaya. Now I know Malaya's family had the father was allegedly abusive, and he got in some trouble. And there's been people that say they know Malaya's dead, and he the native, and he's not that good of a guy. I mean, this is all alleged that he got in some trouble for fighting with Malaya's mom, the domestic violence. So she's been around this whole, DV type of thing, right? And I don't know what transpired in the home of Malaya and Daniel, but according to Daniel, everything is great. But that's a lie, because everything ain't great. Malaya left, packed up and said deuces. If everything was great, would she have left? No. So that tells you right there, everything won't great. And either he's too blind to see it, or he's lying. Okay, Dolly, how old was Katie when when her and Seth first met? She was like 15 years old. Okay. Seth was living there when she was 14, 15 years old. And he said he waited till she was 18. A little creepy, eh? Yeah, a little bit on the creepy side. A little bit on the Jeepers Creepers. Right? It's so, and I mean, he said he waited. That's what he said. I waited till she turned 18. And then to hear TikTok Tony get out there and defend that statement. Well, she was already dating older men. That don't fucking mean nothing. Just because they pedos mean you can be a pedo? Just because if she dated a dude that was 99, that doesn't mean it's okay for you to date a 14-year-old girl? Is it okay for you to date a 17-year-old girl when you old as shit? And for anybody that defends that, F you right in your face. Okay? F you right in your face. There ain't no father of a daughter who's going to say that. Right? Say that around the right dad. Say that around a dude that has a 16, 17-year-old daughter, and see how fast you get your teeth probably knocked down your throat. That is okay to justify it. Right? Like, dude, you creepy enough, TikTok, that you don't need to be justifying no weirdo shit. Okay? Let's just say it like that. But that's neither here nor there. That really has nothing to do with Sebastian Rogers missing. It just shows you that some of these people may not be as mentally stable as believed. You know what I'm saying? That there's some mental health issues or underlying trauma that these people suffer from. Okay. Maybe a form of, PTSD, from this trauma as a child, and you just dealing with it your whole life. Because people don't realize how bad some of these things scar you as a person, but people that have experienced it do. And it's just like the Maddie Soto situation. When we started talking about Maddie Soto, more women called here crying, being abused as children, than you can even imagine. Like, wow. Like, I mean, on scales that are like some of the stories I heard during the Maddie Soto thing, and just from my viewers, would break your heart, of people doing similar things to them. And it was a trigger for people, right? Some people, these things bring back those horrible memories, and they never forget them, right? When people are doing these things, you think people have forgot, right? Because it's been years. They don't forget. They never forget. And it's only it's something always triggers it or brings it back to mind. And it's different things. And I really seen that during the Maddie Soto case, that how many women by Stephen Stearns were triggered, and how many bad memories that brought up just for my viewers here. Right. So, like, I don't know the experience, but either way, they both got missing kids. In both cases, people think the kid are alive and well. Nice to know common
sense is still alive. Turtle emoji, crown emoji.
And I'm sure that a lot of you women in here, before you was of the age of 18, that grown ass men were preying on you. Okay. And for men, even me, when I was a kid, I had all kind of old women throwing themselves at me, right? I must have been cute when I was young. I don't know what happened, right? I don't know what happened. But when I was a young buck in high school, like all the old ladies were trying to buy me shit, right? Like I had all kind of new stuff, right? And old women, boy, y'all need to be, y'all creepy too. Okay. Not so much now, but when I was a teenage kid, oh, let me tell you, oh my God, I couldn't get around a 35, 40-year-old woman to save my life. I don't know what y'all be going through mentally that y'all are like, oh, this little kid look good. You know what I'm saying? But damn. So I know as a guy, it happens, right? I know firsthand. I was wearing a brand new pair of Nikes to school. I know the routine, right? And married women didn't care, didn't matter, right? It didn't even matter. So that's still not acceptable on either. You were a rock star, you know, hey, God can only pick a few, right? God can only pick a few. It don't matter though. Abuse is abuse. You can't abuse kids. Is the lesson. Women, and now it's worse, right? Because look, when like I still had old women throwing themselves at me as a young man, but not teachers, right? Like not when I went to school, like, you know, I went to a hood school too, so most of the women were old black church women that were teachers. I don't think they were trying to give it up. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't the same, like, right? So I didn't have like teachers, you know, like school was a safe place.
So true.
Right? Thank you, Helena. It was a safe place. Outside of school, not so safe, but in my school was a safe place. And to see all these teachers now that are just sleeping with students, having kids with students, and like, I don't know if it's something in the water or you ate lead chips. I thought they stopped making lead paint. You know what I'm saying? You ate pencils. I don't know what you ate with lead in it, but something happened in society where, especially with women, which is so surprising, or teachers just got younger, or I don't know, but I didn't, like I said, I don't remember none of that from the teachers in my school, at least. I can't speak for every school, but in my school, it wasn't like that, right? The teachers wasn't sleeping with the students. Now every time you turn on the news, there's a lady that's sleeping with the football team, the damn baseball team, the track and field team. You're like, special needs kids and shit. You're like, what the hell is going on with all these people? It's like, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So, but anyway, Jack and Lily, for you guys that believe they're out there, I'm going to open up the phone lines. And the question is this tonight: are these kids still with us? And if they are, what good reason would Malaya have to hide them? And now, if you don't believe they're with us, call me up. Let me know why you think they're gone, right? Why would she do something like this? And for the people that think they hit her, why would she hide them? That's my question. Give me 1 second. I will open the phone lines. The phone lines are now open. The call-in number is on the screen, 757-797-6694. Where's Sebastian Rogers? Is Sebastian Rogers alive and well? Or is Sebastian Rogers gone? And who knows what happened to him? I believe the mothers in both these cases know where their children are. That's why the mothers in both these cases are not looking for their kids. Facts. Dolly.
Hey, Dolly.
Hey, you gotta turn me down in the background. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
This is Rita from Dexter.
Hey, Rita.
Hey. Well, I want to call you. I can't comment on the chat. I don't know what it is. I can't even find it on my phone. I am subbed up to you. I can like the videos. I have to do it on my TV. But for some weird reason, I can't pull it up to comment on it. Saying something about the permissions in my phone. So now I might have to swipe my phone out to fix that. So I'm here. I just want you to know I've been watching.
Okay.
But there's something going on with my YouTube settings that's stopping me from commenting, and I have no idea what.
Okay.
So, but anyway, no, I've been paying attention. I want to touch on Sebastian a minute. I think they got by with something with him. I always have thought that. I think that something happened in that house that night. I think that 3-hour phone call was the plan.
Mm-hmm. I do
And
too.
I think that he was handed off that morning before Katie went back to the house. And I've always thought that. I always thought something happened in the garage because Katie won't even park in the garage now, and she used to park in the garage all the time before this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't know. I think something went bad in the garage. One of the old callers had talked about, a long time ago, had talked about maybe he had turned the vehicle on and carbon monoxide might have got him and they covered it up or something like that. But I don't know if that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But I always thought that she lost her cool and something happened. I always thought something way worse.
Well, Seth
No
said
matter
when
what,
she
it's bad.
she drinks, she can go from 0 to 100, and like, you know, she's kind of violent when she drinks.
Mm-hmm. And you could haul off, and you don't know your own strength. When you're mad, you could haul off, and you could really hurt somebody just by backhanding them. I mean,
you wouldn't have to hit him hard. He had that water on his brain, you know. So any little bump, any shove at him could kill him. You know, so anything could have happened. He could have fell off the bed, and the thud she heard could have been him falling, or you know, there could be a lot of reasons. But I believe the only reason a mother would leave when they have a missing kid is because they know where that child is, or they know that child's not coming back.
Yep. And another thing that people, all these people that think he ran away, he would have been found. There's no way he ran away.
Absolutely.
By now.
Yes.
Yeah. Kids are not that. I mean, come on. No, he's not that savvy. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't want to speak ill of Sebastian, but he's not, you know, he's not what I would call a street smart kid.
No.
From the way they talk about him, he could not survive on the streets, period. You know, and a lot of people touch on that and say that. Now, that's just always been my opinion with him, but I do want to touch on Summer real quick, because I've been paying a little bit of attention to the Prayer Garden of America, and I know that I had sent some stuff to PJ before, and I know that she had looked at it because Don was in there yapping in the chat, and they were into it with Don that night.
Yeah, that's his girl.
But I've been watching a little bit of that, but I do. Yeah, they are actually going to go out there and search. And from what I hear, they're going to search a graveyard. Rumor on the YouTube streets is there's a graveyard out there. And they're going to go down there. From what I'm understanding, they're going to go down there and dig up some graves.
Now,
I don't know if you've heard that, but yeah, that's what they're talking about.
Now, I don't know who is talking about going down there digging up graves?
There was, Don B was on there. It was, Ernie was on there, but he said he's going to get in trouble with his probation officer. He already knows.
Yeah, well, you go down digging up graves, you're going to go to jail.
No, apparently the cops are going to do this now. They're going to search it.
No.
From what I understand, all the reports that are going in, they're going to take a team in there. That's what this big search is that's coming up. They're all talking. It's Don B's involved in this. They have been working with law enforcement. No. Ernie's not involved because he's got to stay out of it.
Let me tell you this. If any YouTuber you hear saying he's working with law enforcement is lying to you.
Well, yeah, but Don B does actually search. He may
search. Look. But let me tell you this. I'm not connected to law enforcement. I don't work with law enforcement. I would never tell nobody.
Well, no.
Because that would be a lie. Law enforcement's not going to fucking tell YouTubers nothing. Nothing. They're not going to associate with YouTubers. They're not. I don't believe nothing he says. If he's saying the police are telling him things, he's lying. He's lying.
Well, he didn't say they were. They didn't say that. They said that that's what the search is going to be.
They wouldn't tell him that.
They didn't say they were going to be searching.
They wouldn't tell him.
They're in there talking. It's all up in that thing. But I haven't been in there that much. I've only been in there the few times that they were talking about that.
Yeah,
And Don Wells was in there arguing with all of them.
I don't buy it.
And Don Wells said, "Ain't nobody digging up nothing."
He's right. He's right.
That's what
He's
Don
right.
said. So I'm just telling you what they're saying.
Yeah.
What they're saying.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
I know about how the rumors can fly in YouTube, but Don is the one that went in there and got into it with all of them and told them no.
Yeah, because
nobody's digging up nothing. Summer is not there. She's gone.
Because they sound pretty idiotic saying those things. You can't go digging up graves. You can't do that. But
they are going to interview. I guess they want to interview Hunter or whoever that is. Hunter again.
Good luck with that.
You know,
good luck.
They said they want to interview Hunter again, and I'm like, okay, whoever Hunter is. I followed that case, but not as much as I have Sebastian or the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know more about these people down there than I do.
Yeah.
But I did want to say before we get off here about Jack and Lily.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening with this case.
Yeah.
I have no clue. But you do have the best thumbnails.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Rita. I'll talk to you later.
All righty. I just wanted you to know what was all getting said on that over there.
Okay. All right.
All right. Bye, Dolly, hon.
Okay. All right. Let me say this for anybody that is into the Summer Wells case. You know, I've been down there searching for Summer Wells for 4 years. Every holler, every back road, everything you can fucking do in Hawkinsville, Tennessee. All my searches, everything I've done, I haven't been involved with the police. You know what the police have told me? Not shit. Ever. In any case, anywhere I've searched, the only time the police ever told me anything is they said, hey, we watch your stream. They don't tell you shit. They're not working with YouTubers. And Ernie Shell has a brain chip. He says he has a chip in his brain that makes him a super soldier put there by Elon Musk, right? If you believe anything that these people are telling you out here on these internet streets, please don't. Okay? If you're watching this shit for any more than entertainment, it's almost comical to me, right? Go down there and dig up a grave if you want and watch where your ass is sitting. You'll be sitting right in Hawkins County Jail. And trust me, I know where it's at. We did the prayer vigil right in front of the jail for Summer Wells. Now, if the police wanted to go dig up graves, they would have to get a warrant from a judge, signed by a judge, to be able to dig up a grave or dig up anything. They're not doing that. They are continuing to look for Summer Wells, right? They will be back out there searching a little bit, but as far as digging up anything, or Don B, or Ernie Shell, or Prayer Gardens of America, or any of these fucking people that'll tell you anything, it's not happening. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, right? I ain't gonna tell you some shit like that. Like, police do not work with YouTubers. They don't. They ain't gonna tell you shit. They don't owe you nothing. People use that shit all the time. Well, the police told me. I called the police station and they told. The police are going to tell you to fuck off. Is what the police are going to tell you, right? You think I got more subscribers than all these channels combined? All right, I searched more than all these people that are talking about it combined. You know what the police tell me? Not shit. Get out the way. You know what I'm saying? You're a nobody, dude. Fuck you, right? Move before you go to jail, right? That's what they'll tell you. All right. Why does people just lie on the internet, right? Why do they get up here and just think you guys believe anything? Right? Listen, I don't think people are stupid on the internet. I don't think y'all are dumb at all. I think y'all are just as intelligent as me. And I know better. Okay. I know better than this shit. I'm like, listen, you can sell me a lot of things, but you ain't selling me that. Okay. You ain't selling me that. I've been there. I've been involved. You know what I'm saying? I did the prayer vigil at the police station. Okay. Talk with the police. Did they give me any clues or ask me for help? No. No. They don't. That shit's insane, right? And they've been running this shit for years. And listen, when I came into true crime, it was because of Summer Wells. everything goes full circle, right? And to see that these same people are still involved that haven't done anything but add confusion to it and push false information. Now, I don't know why Don B. I don't watch Don B much. I don't really know too much about Don B. But why they're saying these things, I have no clue, and I don't know the reference of why they're saying it. Right, so I'm just speaking from just a thought of, the police are working with you kind of thing. That ain't happening. But far as what the hell they're talking about, I have no clue. Right, and I think it's better off that way that I have no clue, because for me, this stuff is real. Okay, this ain't, when I first started, I told people, I said, listen, when I first started watching Summer Wells, it was like a TV show. Right? You don't really understand it. It's like watching TV or some type of entertainment. But soon as I hit Ben Hill Road and I was there for real the very first time, it came real, really, really fast. The emotions became real. The whole this is a TV show shit was out the window. I'm in the middle of a fucking holler in Tennessee somewhere, and this shit's really happening. It ain't a game. It ain't a joke. It's real. These are real people. These are real lives. These are real families. These are real kids. And it should be treated like that. Right. And I tell people all the time, is like watching YouTube's a lot different than really doing it. Like anybody can sit at this desk and talk about it. But when you get out there and you really start doing it, you realize how real it is. The emotions are real. The people are real. This ain't a fucking game. This ain't a TV show. These are real life. These are real people that you're dealing with. And if you think it's a show or you think this is just entertainment, then take a little trip. Take a little trip. Trust me. Trust what I tell you, because it didn't hit me. I was the same way. It was just entertainment for me until I was there. And then a whole different wave of emotions, sadness and grief and all these things overcome me. And I was just like, I can't believe this. What I'm standing out there like, what the hell am I even doing here? But I knew then that I wanted to help. And that's what I continue to do. But to make a joke or just mislead or to do any of that is, crazy. I've had my opinions on it, but it's still another one of those cases where we don't have no proof, right? You can only blame people for so long, right? Until you the most important thing is to search for answers. And then once them answers come, justice will come. But we can't skip the answer part, right? We can't go straight to justice. We need the answers first. And if people are muddying the water, it makes it really hard to get those answers. And I thought Summer Wells was a complete shit show. Sebastian Rogers was a circus, Jack and Lily, I don't know what this is yet. A lot of confusion, but it's starting to trend towards Sebastian Rogers. And fucking Dog the Bounty Hunter pops up in Canada. I'm done. That's all I'm saying. Now I'm going to open the phone lines back up, but I wanted to address that because out of all of these kids, out of all of them, I want Summer Wells found. No, I want them all found. I just want Summer Wells found ASAP. Dolly.
Dolly.
Yeah.
Doug from Tennessee.
What up, Doug?
Well, look here. On that Summer Wells case, Hunter would have spilled his guts. Could you just imagine how much drugs he could have bought with that money?
Who?
Hunter.
Hunter?
If he knew anything, he'd have told on them like a damn freight train.
Not if he's involved.
He wasn't involved. I'm just saying. If he knew where that girl was, they'd have turned him in. Just like Jack and Lily. Anybody knows where them kids are, they would.
Hunter's a little thug.
Right. He would have turned them in for the money so he could buy drugs.
Poor kid. He came up with mean, his daddy is something else. His mom, I mean, they just encourage him to be a terrible, terrible human being. Like, he lies more than anybody ever. You know when we raised that money for him. I don't know if you were here
and PJ,
when I raised all that
smiling
money
face
for
with
Hunter,
hearts emoji,
and he went out and bought a
kissing
gun.
face emoji.
Yeah, I was there.
Lied about
I've
the
been here.
kid, lied about his mama, lied about everything. He did not fall far from the daddy tree. You know what I'm saying?
No, daddy's a nut.
Daddy a nut, and he done rubbed that off on his kid, and his kid's a little fraud. And yeah, I don't even know what to say about that one. I ain't got nothing good to say about it, Doug. I can tell you that.
And these people, man, they believe all this shit. If they know where these kids are, they're going to turn them in.
Yeah.
Somebody would turn them in. Just like Jack and Lily. Ain't nobody going to pass up
I have to say
$150,000.
this. The closest I think anybody got Candace to talking, and then this is hard to even say, believe it or not, was Ernie Shell. Out of all of them, Ernie was close. And he's crazy on everything else, but sometimes you need crazy people to deal with crazy people. And I think Ernie was close. I think he was really close, believe it or not.
I think Dr. Phil got closer.
No, no, nowhere near. Nowhere near.
Yeah.
Dr. Phil was a joke. Ernie
made her break down though.
Ernie almost had some information. I know Ernie almost had it, right? And then he dropped the ball. But he was close. Ernie, out of all the YouTubers that tried to dig up answers for Summer Wells, Ernie was the closest.
But I'm just saying, people will turn you in for money.
Yeah, they will. I don't.
And just like Jack and Lily.
Ernie is crazy. He's crazy. I don't even think he wanted the money. He's just crazy. He's
like Durwood. If he knows where them kids was at, you don't think he wouldn't take that $150,000?
Anybody take $150,000? I'd take $150,000. I'd tell on you, Doug, for $150,000.
Yeah, but I don't do shit to get me in trouble.
If you did, I'm telling on you.
I know you would.
At least you know, right? You know not to do it around me because I'm telling. I'm taking that.
I'm gonna let you know. I ain't gonna let you know shit.
Yeah, don't let me know nothing. Because as soon as somebody says 25, I'll be like, look, Doug is all at the golf course right now. He probably did it. I know where he's at on the weekends. He's playing golf. He's a big guy. He's hard to miss. He retired from GE. I'm telling it all. So,
but I'm just saying, Durwood, like he says, he knows where them kids at.
He don't know where them.
That damn man would be on his bicycle riding through the damn neighborhood of the damn Indian reservation to find them kids.
Yeah,
Durwood.
He would have done. He would have done told it, and if the police thought he was legit, they'd be all on them reservations doing massive searches for those kids, and that's not happening.
You got that. Hey, hell, I believe the damn chief would turn him in for $150,000.
That's what I'm saying. I would turn you in as a chief for $150,000. I'd be like, look, the tribe just got a little bit smaller, but we eating good this Thanksgiving. Okay.
Yeah, but I believe Jack and Lily got into the shit. The kids passed away, and they had to do something. And all four of them come up with the idea of burying them children.
I mean,
and they went so far on that four. I got a feeling they caught that damn guy on the 4-wheeler hauling something.
I don't know, Doug. I don't know.
On camera.
It seems odd. I mean, no, because they said they went through the cameras and they ain't got nothing.
That's what they tell you.
Yeah. I mean, they could be lying. But they said the footage didn't give up any information. They went through hundreds of hours of footage and nothing.
But that's the best way. I mean, think about it. If they got on the 4-wheeler, there ain't no damn body going to see you.
No, ain't nobody going to see you, and especially they know the woods and the trails. I mean, it's possible. I ain't saying it's impossible. Something happened to them, Doug. They didn't run away and they wasn't abducted. Something happened to them.
I'm just telling you, I believe they got into the shit, and all four of them have got trouble. Are in on it. All four of them.
I believe so too. I think everybody in that property knows what happened to those kids, but if anybody talks, everybody's going to jail, so they ain't saying nothing.
And Sebastian, I honestly believe he got a hold of somebody on the internet that picked him up, and they still got him. They use they're abusing that child.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree. They have all his communication devices. He wasn't talking to nobody on the internet.
But he wasn't on the internet. No, he ain't that smart.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
he was smart enough to be on the internet. That's for sure. He's smart enough to play chess. He's smart enough to be on the internet.
And these people on the internet, though, some of these dudes, that's what they do. They prey on children.
Yeah, there's some monsters out there, Doug. All right, Dougie Fresh, you be good.
All right, y'all. Hey, happy 4th of July and tell PJ bye.
I will. All right, happy 4th to you, Doug.
Later.
Okay. I got to totally disagree with Doug on the whole Sebastian Rogers thing. They had his phone. They had his communication devices. They had Katie, everybody's communication devices. And Sebastian's not out there. Okay. So, see, there's still people that believe Sebastian Rogers is alive. It's been almost 2 years. Still believe he's alive. There's still people that believe Summer Wells is alive, and it's been 4 years. I mean, look, I'm glad some people don't give up hope, right? I'm glad they don't. That they're, we're gonna be on they're alive train forever. I mean, it's wishful thinking, and I hate to be doom and gloomy, but when there ain't if there was a reason to hide a kid, like Summer Wells, there's a little bit of a reason they could have hid Summer Wells, but it ain't. I don't believe they hid Summer Wells because they got real sorrow. If they hid Summer Wells, Candace wouldn't act the way she acts. She wouldn't cry the way she cries. And maybe y'all ain't seen it, but I have. I've been in their house with them and watched her cry, right? Dead ass and bawling, like snot bubbles crying, right? And all her emotions are all over the place. I've seen her laughing. I've seen her crying. I've seen her mad, seen her happy. And she wouldn't be that way if Summer was just, they hid Summer, right? Her pain is real. Is it pain because she covered up the death of her child? It's possible. I don't know what the pain is from. I just know the pain is real with Candace. It ain't a show. It ain't fake. Listen, Candace ain't that. Candace is a little bit on the slower side. She's almost like hanging out with a teenage kid, believe it or not. And she ain't, not to be mean. She ain't the brightest person. You know what I'm saying? Drugs and alcohol fuck your brain up. Okay. And they do. It's just, that's why you just say no is a real thing, right? Because there's side effects and long-term things that it does to you. And she has symptoms of that, of abuse, and then even if you sober, it's there, right? Like, you start doing these drugs, in your mind, she's almost, like I said, almost like sitting with a teenager. She just don't have that adultness to her, and she's an old ass woman. It's weird. It's just weird to see somebody trapped mentally as a child. Now these other people, I can't speak for Malaya. I don't know Malaya, but it's the same thing. There's really no reason to hide the kid. But Dolly, her sister went missing too. What happened to her? Yeah, but she wasn't around. It don't have no. A lot of people think her husband killed her sister. The sister's husband. They were going through custody disputes and shit, and there was a lot of things going on, and or she's under the driveway, like they always said. I don't know. But I know Candace didn't kill her sister. Okay. Grandis, maybe, right? Maybe there's some Grandis stuff to it. That's a whole different video, though. That's a whole different video. Let me open the phone lines. There's a whole lot of dysfunctional shit going on in that. Dolly.
Hey, Dolly, it's Chief.
What's up, Chief?
Not a whole lot.
Why you get that girl a lawyer, Chief?
What?
I said, why you get that girl a lawyer?
I didn't give that girl a lawyer. Shit, I couldn't afford a damn lawyer my damn self, so I stay out of trouble.
Oh, that's a different chief then. Oh, that must have been a different chief that got the girl the lawyer.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you got that right.
All
Not me.
All right. What's up, Chief?
All right. I agree with you on the Lilly and Jack thing.
Mm-hmm.
Too much confusion going on.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my view on the Summer Wells thing. All right. They had the kids taken from them, right?
Well, no, they wasn't.
The
They wasn't taken at the time, but yeah, they got taken after Summer went missing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, they've been adopted, or are they still in the system?
Two of them.
In the fourth.
Two of them been adopted.
Okay. All right.
Josie hasn't been yet.
Protection laws, when it comes to adoption, they don't have to know where the biological parents are. They don't have to communicate with them. It's like the witness protection program. Therefore, these kids never have to see them again. Therefore, if something to come up, they can refuse to testify against them.
Yeah, but you would have to give up
Or
your
testify.
right. You have to give up your rights.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if they were witnesses to anything, they don't have to speak up, or they could speak up.
I don't think they were witnesses to anything. I think they're at the age now that would talk. Josie's almost a damn grown man. That's why they're having a hard time getting him adopted out. He's a big boy too.
Yeah.
Seems like a really nice kid. Super nice kid.
I believe it. But I mean, if they were to see something or hear something or had something to do with it damn selves, they're exempt right now because they don't have to have.
Yeah.
Under the parental laws. So where's that leave that? Wide open for no answers.
Well, I don't think there's ever be answers in the Summer Wells case. Much as I
Yeah,
hope and pray, I'm slowly trying to accept the fact that they're right. They've hid these kids so good you're never going to find it.
Yep.
No, and it's sad to think that, and you can see in them they accepted the fact that Summer is gone. They don't not for 1 second think she's been kidnapped, or I mean they think she's been kidnapped, but they say that anyway, but they know she's deceased. Yeah. According to them, to Don and Candace, Summer Wells is gone.
Yeah. I mean, if they're admitting that, then they know a little more than they're about.
Oh, I believe that too.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't get mad at me. You know, they didn't like that I said it, but I told them the same thing I say here when I was with them. I just believe y'all covered it up and something bad happened. And they said, no. They said, you're wrong. You're wrong. We did.
If your track record makes you look guilty, chances are there is guilt there.
There's something there. And I don't know how.
And you can make that shit disappear like it never happened.
Yeah, you got to watch what you say because I didn't want to disappear. But, you know, then again, I wasn't too worried. You know, I had my secret soldier with me, PJ, and she's strapped up like damn KGB agent in a spy movie. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't too worried. But I told them the same thing, you know, that I tell everybody here that, hey, I believe Summer Wells passed away. Y'all didn't know what to do. You panicked and you chose the wrong path. And they swore up and down, no, we didn't do that, Dolly. We didn't do that. She's gone. She went right down that hill right there. And I just couldn't believe them. You know, I still to this day don't believe them. But they stand by their story, and I wasn't going to sit there and argue with them about it. But you know, he said that Summer's in heaven, and he had a weird vision that something bad was going to happen to Summer, and 3 days later, Summer was gone.
Did you predict your own crime?
That's what he told me. We were standing on the hill right there at his house, and he said,
"If you told me that, I'm thinking." Did you just predict the crime before it happened?
He said 3 days. He said 3 days before it happened, he had a vision a dream and that something bad happened this summer, and he had warned Candace over and over that something bad was coming and that something was going to happen this summer, and then something happened this summer. He told me that face to face, like looked me right in the eyes and said, he said 3 days before it happened. And like, and you know, listen, we see Don Wells on the internet, and he's usually drunk and mean and angry, and seems, when I was talking to him, he was sober, he was quiet, he was more timid, and it's totally different than what you see on the internet, right? Totally different, different. Like, I think people would have a different impression of the Wells if they would get on the internet sober, but they don't. They don't get on the internet till they got a little fucking buzz going, and then at that point they're wilding out, and people only see that. They don't see,
and the lines are blurred.
Yeah, and then that's what people envision that they're always like, but that ain't what they're always like. That was the hard thing I took from it, because I had in my mind that these people were a certain way. Right, because I've seen on the internet.
I'll tell you what, when I first started finding out about that and following your channel with it, you gave me the chills thinking about certain shit.
Yeah, I mean, they're real.
You know,
people. They're real.
Because of your reaction.
I mean, they're real people. It's just, you know, are they covered?
Not a game.
And if they are, let's just say something did accidentally happen to your kid and you were scared you were going to go to jail and you did something horrible. You have to live with that forever. You know?
Yeah.
Like, and that sadness might be coming from that, or, you know, or you failed the kid or whatever, but whatever it is, they're going to have nightmares forever, no matter what. And that is, if they did do it, they're paying the price for it. You know, they're paying the price with that, drinking themselves to death and abusing narcotics and to fight those demons. And I can honestly tell you, the demons are winning.
Yeah.
You know, some demons are hard to fight. Some of them you can't fight off. They're with you forever.
Exactly.
But
then
go ahead, Chief.
And then I had, in the Sebastian Rogers case, I honestly believe that Sebastian wasn't barefoot. I think Seth had new shoes for him. He smuggled them into the house, and they didn't know about them. That's why they weren't accounted for.
Well, there's 2 hours that Seth was unaccounted for too. So,
well, no, I'm saying his shoes. They gave all the shoes to law enforcement, right?
Well, yeah, they showed them to law enforcement. I don't know if they gave them to law enforcement.
Well, yeah, showed them. What if he had a pair that Katie and Chris didn't know about? And that just gave him,
I mean, it's possible.
Assumption he was barefoot.
It's possible. You know, I mean, I don't know. The police never, actually, Sheriff Craddock said, when he went missing, he said, at this time, I'm not going to report that he's barefooted.
Yeah.
So he didn't say he was barefooted. Sheriff Craddock didn't. So there's always that possibility.
The rest of the internet assumed
that he was barefoot. Yeah, but Craddock said, I'm not going to say at this time that he's barefooted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was in the very beginning, and he never said he was barefooted. So, but all his shoes were accounted for. So it's possible he could have been barefooted.
And then, in my eyes, if you're going to disappear to Memphis with your husband while your kid's missing, I don't know. That's kind of like suspicion, probable cause.
It's abandonment is what it is. What if he pops back up?
Yeah.
You ain't there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And abandonment. Yeah, absolutely. But probable cause and suspicion right there. Why are you leaving if your kid's missing?
Yeah. All right.
Don't make it.
All right, Chief. We all the time. You be good, brother.
Yep. You too.
All right. Peace. Okay. Did anybody notice I changed up the layout of the page? You notice there's nothing flashing anymore. Remember there was a little live thing that scrolled and then it said breaking news at the bottom and it was on fire and the page was like red and it kind of moved. Does anybody remember that? I changed it up because people were like, Dolly, your channel is giving me fucking seizures. I'm epileptic and everything's flashing and moving. I don't know what to concentrate on. I can't really pay attention to it. So I listened to you people and I changed it to where you notice behind me it's not moving. Got rid of the breaking news things that were moving. I got rid of the flash and live. Yeah, I like the new setup. Okay. I just wonder if anybody noticed. Right. I didn't say nothing about it, but I noticed that a lot of people are like, there's just too much going on the page and all the stuff moving around. And I didn't want none of y'all to be on the floor biting your tongue off. So I mellowed it down a little bit. I noticed. Thanks. Okay. All right. So yeah, the breaking news used to flip and it used to light up. So I changed all that. Looks great. Thank you. I noticed. Thank you, Dolly. So I kind of, made it where it wasn't moving. So I guess people get a little motion sickness or whatever it may be. I like shit flashing and moving. It keeps me paying attention to it. Right. But, I figured since there were so many complaints, right? Since some people ain't got nothing better to do than to complain about shit, I was like, all right, let me fix it for the people. It looks very clean looking. Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm glad y'all like it. I'm just wondering if anybody even noticed. All right. So let me open the phone line back up. And what reason would she hide these kids? There's, like I said, 6 months from now, we'll have this conversation again. And I guarantee you, all you people that press 1 tonight, y'all be on team foul player right along with Dolly. There's just a certain time frame that y'all are going to be hopeful. And then about 6 months in, all that hope will go out the window. Reality will hit you in the face like a ton of bricks. And then you're going to be like, damn, Dolly, you were right again. And then I'm going to be like, I told you so. That's what I'm going to be. I'm just being, I'll be like, yeah, I told you. Oh, you think I was wrong? I didn't say that shit to hear myself talk. I said it because it's the truth. This is, we've seen this, guys. We've seen this. Don't believe any of these people. They're running a narrative to get you to take the blame off of Malay and Daniel. Don't fall for it. Like Flavor Flav would say, don't believe the hype. Okay, don't believe the hype. They want you to believe these kids are alive. That makes me think more that the kids are not alive when they're screaming they're alive, because they know. Some of these people know these kids ain't alive, but yet they're screaming it. Now, this is just my opinion, right? And there's a possibility I could be wrong, but the odds, I usually ain't wrong. Don't worry. I'll be the same way if they're found alive. Well, yeah, you can be. And I expect that. But you know what? That ain't coming. I ain't worried about that tomorrow. I ain't worried about that next week. I ain't worried about that because that ain't coming. I pray to God they find the kids. And when I say that, I don't think they're alive. I just pray to God they find the kids so there's closure and answers. And then once they find the kids that are hurt, not longer with us, that there's justice for these kids. Because there's a couple people that should be sitting in jail right now as we speak, and they're not. Okay? They're not. So, let me open the phone lines. I didn't even know they were closed. Okay, now the phone lines are open. Sorry, guys. I'm sure there's a lot of people got stuff they want to say on this one tonight. I do too, Dolly. We need closure and justice. Yeah, that's right. That is for sure. And I mean, in all these cases are will any of them be solved? Will any of them? I mean, if we could just get one of them, I'd be happy, right? Just wanted to, Michael Vaughn, Sebastian Rogers, Jack and Lily, any of it. They still ain't found the body of Cody Bixby. Any of these cases, just give me one. Okay, I'd be happy with that. Just one. Dolly.
Hello.
Hello. You got to turn me down in the background.
Okay, Dolly. I don't think Jack and Lily are with us any longer. I really wish that they were,
Mhm.
but they're not.
All right, who's this? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Mesa, Arizona.
Arizona. Okay, Arizona. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't feel like they're here. There's no reason for them to have hid these kids. So, but
Absolutely not. But here's the part that I don't get.
mhm.
I don't think that Malaya or Daniel are rocket scientists.
No, I don't either.
How come there's no arrests?
I mean,
Put these people where they belong.
there's no witnesses and there's no bodies, so they don't really have much to go on off of than suspicion, and it's hard to get a conviction on suspicion, you know. Unless they have something, unless they have something we don't know about. I believe they should put them in jail for less of crimes like child neglect and maybe lying.
I think right from the get go they should have done a harder interrogation.
Oh,
maybe get one of them to crack.
Yes, and that's where the RCMP failed. That's my belief, is in the interrogation aspect of it. And, you know, Daniel said he was interrogated for 4 hours. That's not very long.
No, it's not.
You know, we see people here in the States interrogated for 72 hours. They didn't let me sleep for 2 days, you know. Why there is it just 4 hours and okay, go home, you know. They should have been bringing them in every day and asking them questions.
I think they should have kept them there till one of them broke, honestly.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know Canada's laws and how hard they interrogate, but apparently not too hard because they didn't get no answers, and they're still missing, and nobody's in jail. There's no answers for Jack and Lily. Or is justice going to come? I just pray it does.
Oh, and I recently found her channel, and I really love it. And I just want to say that all YouTubers aren't terrible. I mean, there's a few of you good guys out there that really are trying to make a difference.
Yeah, there's a handful. There's some good people out here. I've met some good people on the YouTube streets, and there's some bad ones though.
Well, I'm not going to ramble on, Dolly, but thanks for everything you do, and a big hello to PJ.
Okay, you be good. Stay safe.
Thanks.
Peace. Okay, you see, she believes these kids are gone. I mean, a lot of people are, you know, here's the thing. There's no proof that these kids are alive, but there's no proof that the kids are dead. Just statistically, and the odds say that the children are dead. But there's no proof right yet that these children are dead. I mean, that's a good sign if you want to be hopeful. Just like there's no signs that they're alive, there's no signs that they're dead. We're kind of in limbo there. We're kind of 50-50 on that one, right? Which is, you can take as a good thing. Just like there ain't no reason to hide the kids, there's really no reason to hurt the kids either. Okay, so we're kind of 50-50 on that one. You know, but I don't know. The behavior of the mother, we're not 50-50 there. If she's innocent, she acts like the most guilty, innocent person ever. Because innocent people would be begging and pleading and screaming from the rooftops for their kid. But I watched a story last night on 48 Hours. I've been watching that a lot late at night. And it was about a mother, and her daughter was, I think, 20 years old, 19, 20 in college. And she went for a jog. Maybe some of y'all have seen this. And she never came home, right? So the parent was a realtor in Florida. And he was like a mogul. He was big time realtor. He built one of the largest developments in the US, and it was at Florida at the time, right? So the daddy was loaded. And but he didn't spend much time with his daughter. The daughter was more back and forth with her mother. But anyway, she goes jogging and she never comes back. So of course, the dad is rich and he gets John Walsh involved from America's Most Wanted. He gets one of the quarterbacks from the Miami Dolphins involved, and they got hundreds, almost like 1,000 people out there searching for this girl. I forget her name. I feel bad about it now. And basically, they search and they don't find her. And the dad's crying. And they look for this girl for 25 years. Okay. The dad and the brother had been looking for this woman and the mother for 25 straight years. Everything they could do, every expense they could pay, everything they could humanly possibly do to look for this girl for 25 years. And they asked the dad, 48 hours asked him, they said, how long will you search for your daughter? Because, they know she's dead, right? And he said, I will search for the rest of my life. And he starts crying. 25 years later, he's still crying like a baby, the father. And he's like, I will search for her till the day I die. And then when I die, my son will continue to search for her. And that was sad to watch. Well, anyway, they ended up getting a new sheriff. And about 2 years after a year after her death, they find the body of another girl. All right. And at the time, they don't know who did it. But this one guy had just got out of prison for the big R word and murdering some other girl. He got life in prison, but he ended up only doing 13 years in the Florida penitentiary. When he got out, they thought he was a suspect because he was nearby, right? So then he ends up, when he's like 20 something, goes somewhere else and rapes and hurts his 15-year-old girl, and they give him life in prison again. So now he's in life in prison, and the new sheriff is investigating, and she thinks that he may have something to do with the disappearance of this girl. So of course they start running DNA and stuff like that. 12 years later, DNA came back to the second girl they found dead. Remember, they didn't find the first girl we're talking about. They found the second girl, and it showed that he was the killer of the second girl. So then they believe, well, he must have killed the first girl a year prior, and he's a serial killer. So they got this new cold case stuff they opened up, and they sent a detective down to the prison to talk to him to see if he would confess, because he was never getting out, that he killed the first girl that they've been looking for 25 years. When the detective got there, he was on his deathbed with cancer in a coma. All right, and died a week later. They never got to talk to him, right? Which sucks, because they were hoping he would, tell, because there's no chance of him ever getting out. He's about to die. What difference does it make if he says, yeah, I killed 30 people? He's dying either way, right? So they go into his cell and they search the cell, and they find an address book in his cell 25 years later. Okay. And he has labeled everybody in the dates that he raped and killed them in this address book. Right. And they flip to it and it says number 2. Because remember, he had just got out of prison for 13 years for a life sentence. And then it said number 2. And it was the date that the girl, the very first girl that they were looking for, went missing. The real estate guy's daughter, and it had that date on it. So that was like the smoking gun that he had committed this murder to them, that the date of the disappearance was right there, and it said number 2 right beside it. And then the third girl had her information in number 3. So he was numbering his victims in this address book. He just didn't know her name, so he didn't put her. The other girls' names were in the book, but her name wasn't. It just said number 2 and the date she went missing. So they go back to where they found the body of the second girl that came up dead a year later, and they went in there with excavators and backhoes and all that stuff and dug it all up. Tragically, they didn't find her body, so she has never been found. but the parents believe the serial killer is the one that took her life because of the evidence that was in his cell. So that was what I watched on 48 last night. That's a good show. Anybody, I've seen people say they love 48. I watched the first 48. I watched 48 Hours. And it's all just really like educational. You learn from a lot of it. You learn techniques, tactics they use, how they solve the crimes. It'll teach you a lot. And just, when things are not right. Right. And a lot of these detectives were saying that we knew from the very beginning that it wasn't, she wasn't coming back. Right. We knew, like you just know. Right. And this is kind of how I feel about Jack and Lily. It's kind of how I feel about Sebastian Rogers, Summer Wells. And of course, we know Michael Monkey Vaughn has been, labeled deceased by the police. So once you see this enough, right? Like, not just my experience of dealing with it in real life, but the experience of, just sitting around watching all this unfold on these murder mystery shows that I watch every single night. The first 48 is a good show. I enjoy also Dolly. Yeah, because they show you people confessing and them solving the crimes. Them are usually easy crimes to solve, like a shooting. There's really no mystery in it because somebody, Pookie shot so, and then they go arrest them, and then they go in there and they confess. Them are easy crimes. Like the first 48. 48 Hours covers a little bit more of the trickier crimes. Like, okay, this was a little confusing. They cover all the mystery ones, and I like the mystery of it because because they don't tell you in the beginning who done it. You got to kind of, as you watching it, solve it, and then at the end they tell you who got prosecuted and shit and how they did it. So while you're watching the show, you don't really know who did it. So it gives you the opportunity, like, yeah, the brother-in-law did it, or the mother did it, or it gives you that opportunity of trying to solve the crime. That's why I like 48, just 48, not the first 48, but just 48. And just like me and PJ went to a murder mystery event, and there was 120 people there, right? 120 people. A crime happens in front of you. Somebody runs in with a knife and falls on the floor and dies. And one of the guests in there killed the person. And you got to solve who it is with very little clues. They give you like 2 clues. And while you're eating dinner. So, and then it's a little break in the dinner. You get to walk around to other tables and talk to the people and ask them any questions that you may want to ask them, right? So, PJ's a little more not as outgoing as me, right? So I'm instantly asking people crazy ass questions. You ever been locked up? You know what I'm saying? You ever kill anybody? I was joking with the bartender and because everybody has a code name, and the bartender's thing was not the killer. That was her name on her name tag, not the killer. Right. So I'm getting a drink from her, and I'm like, if I was a killer, I would want people to think what? I'm not the killer, right? Dolly train. Whoop, look at it blow up.
Dolly train. Happy 4th.
That's where we're going tonight, right? That's where we're going, right off the rails. So I was thinking, okay, the first person you're going to try to be is the person that didn't do it, right? If you're the killer, you're going to want people to think you didn't do it. So her name was not the killer. And I was like, I told her, I said, yeah, your name's a little suspicious. And she's like, I'm telling you, it ain't me. Don't waste your time on me. And that's what she said, which makes you more suspicious, right? Because you're sitting there saying, I'm not the killer. Your name is I'm not the killer. And you're saying, don't waste your time on me, right? Be looking at other people. So you're already trying to throw people off. But the long story short is I didn't suspect the bartender, right? Because I was thinking that's too easy for it to be the bartender, right? But out of all the people, I picked who the killer was. Out of everybody, 120 people in the room, I picked exactly who the killer was. and knew why they committed the crime. So at one point, the people at the table started thinking I was the killer, right? Because I was saying, I know who the killer is. I got it. I got this. And they were like, they started thinking I was the killer, but I didn't want them to get it wrong, right? Because they were sitting at my table. I at least wanted my table to have some type, no, I wasn't the killer. So I said, look, I promise y'all, I'm not the killer. My YouTube channel is this. And the lady instantly looks it up. And she goes, he's not lying. He's a YouTuber, right? I was like, I'm not the killer. I'm here because I do true crime. And I gave everybody a Dolly Vision pen. Okay. Just so they wouldn't think I was the killer. I was like, look, I ain't the killer. Don't waste your vote on me, right? Get it right. Try to get it right. And then they were like, well, who do you think the killer is? So then now they want my answer, right? So I'm like, listen, there's a few people, and I'll tell you why. There was this one girl that said she was she did autopsies, right? And she was a young girl, and she said she was from Boston, right? But when they asked her a question, she told somebody she was from somewhere else, and I called it, right? And I was like, well, she just lied. She just lied, right? So she has something to do with it. And she seemed too young to be like a doctor or whatever the hell it is. What do they call the people that do the autopsies? A forensic pathologist. I thought she was too young. I was like, she's too young. She's kind of out of place, you know, and I heard her lie. And then there was this one dude, and he was a vlogger, right? But there was something he said that stood out to me, right? And his name was like Spidey something. And I was just thinking, I do not trust Spidey, right? And because there was a clue, and it had something to do with Spider-Man, right? And his name, what was his name? Something Web Slinger, or it was something Web or Spidey Web. It was something like that, but it had something to do with Peter Parker as the clue. And then I kind of figured it out. I was like, okay, he knows these people because he reviewed a film, because that's what he said he did. He reviewed things, and he killed them over jealousy, right? So I write in my little answers, and I was right. It was him. Everybody, I picked out of 120 people, I guess, at the dinner who the killer was. So I'm pretty good at it. Okay, I'm pretty good at picking the killer. That's all I'm saying. I think it's all that next 48 unsolved mysteries, the true crime stuff. And here's the bad thing: if I'd have got it wrong, I'd have felt bad, because I'm so into like true crime that it was one of those situations to where I gotta get it right. Right. I think people, once they knew I was a true crime person, they expected me to get it right. So now there's this expectation that I'm going to be right. And just luckily I was fucking right. I was just good guess, I guess. But I had it. I mean, it was a little bit, I wasn't positive like 100, because I still thought the girl that lied was, but she was, come to find out, she was part of the show. She was with them, part of the cast. So it was her job to throw you off a little bit. I guess that's why she was lying. But I knew she was I knew she had something to do with it. I just didn't know if she was the killer, you know, but she was part of their cast, and she was placed at that table to kind of throw people off. And I just knew she didn't fit in from the very beginning. I was like, this girl does not fit in. There's no way she's one, she didn't sound like she was from Boston, and she said she was from Boston. As soon as I talked to her, she said, I'm from Boston. I'm a forensic pathologist. And I was just thinking, bitch, you are lying. You know, you didn't say, where's the khakis, right? I've talked to plenty of people from Boston and the whole Karen Reed situation. That's how I knew she was lying. And I told everybody at the table, I said, well, she's lying. I just don't know if she's the killer. It don't make sense. But she's definitely either part of the show or she's lying about who she is. And the dude that sat next to her was named Mr. Botox. And I asked him what he did, and he said he was a doctor. Right? He said, I'm a doctor. But he looked like a weird ass Botox, like a doctor. And I guess he was actually a doctor, but that's what he said. He does Botox. Dr. Botox was his name. So if you have never been to one of those mystery murder dinners, you should check it out. It was actually pretty fun. The food, wasn't that great for the price, but the actual game is good. Now, the one that we went to, they only switch it up like every few months. So like if you went back there and try to do it again, it'd be the same story. Right. So we're waiting until they switch the story up to go back. Right. I wish they would do it every month. So you could probably do like the murder mystery dinner every month, but they do it like once every 3 months. They change the story. So if you go back next month, it's the same killer, the same story, so we're waiting for the next one so we could go back and, try to solve another mystery. I still think they have these babies with someone. Nah, not me. Okay. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The kids are not, I don't think the kids are healthy. That's all I'm going to say. If she handed the kids off, she didn't hand the kids off a lot. There's no reason, right? There's no reason to hide the kids. And I know people do sell kids, but there's really no reason to sell the kids either. So where did these kids go and why are they missing? That's the mystery here, right? You got to ask yourself, why would she hide them? Why? There's not a solid reason to hide these kids. The social services wasn't involved till Jack and Lily went missing. Dolly. Not Dolly. Okay. What do you think? Somebody else was going to answer the phone? How dare you hang up on me like that? Isn't that illegal? She's pure evil if she has. Well, I mean, if she hid the kids, she's going to jail for lying to the authorities. Why would you lie and hide your own kids? There's no reason. If you was trying to get out of a relationship, you would just tell the police, hey, I hid them because I wanted to get away from Daniel. They're here. They're okay. And show proof of life. Why would she go through that and let the police search forever and these kids be packed in a car and shipped away? I think it's going to come out, Dolly. Okay, you call in and hang up on me again, I'm going to block you. You'll never be able to call back. Okay, so if you're calling in and hanging up and you got something wrong with your phone, I wouldn't do it the third time. Third time, 3 strikes, you get on the block list. All I do is click one button and it blocks your number. Daniel even made that weird statement that he would be searching for them for the rest of his life. He ain't searching now. You heard anything about him searching? You heard anybody putting search parties together? I haven't. Wouldn't you be asking for help searching if you was really out there searching? Or would you want to be out there alone searching? That I'll search forever sounds good. I'll search forever. But if you ain't out there putting search parties together, begging and pleading online and in public, asking for help, won't he bring in the Mexican guy, right? That found baby Dane. Somebody should shoot him his information. I mean, we know that the RCMP checked those lakes, but apparently this guy is good at what he does, and he's found multiple bodies after the lakes have been searched. So anybody remember the baby Dane case? Anybody just recently? I believe it was in Washington State. The baby fell into the water. There was a footprint near the edge of the water. And they sent in the police, and the police divers went into the water and searched and didn't find nothing. And then the Mexican guy was in Mexico vacationing, and he's an underwater diver, and he seen the story, and he drove up there, and they told him, hey, we already searched here. He said he don't care. He started there anyway. Same day, 15 minutes later, he found the baby under a tree branch in the water. And brought closure. Dane Paulson, yeah, baby Dane, brought closure to that family that may have never got it. There's his name right there. However you say it's Juan Hirda Dia. I don't know. He's Spanish. I don't know. I just Juan something. So, but that is his name. And if you haven't checked him out, this dude has found multiple bodies of missing people in lakes after they've been searched. So, and he does it for free. He gets donations like me on YouTube, and he uses those donations to search for missing people. Pretty much a DOLLY, but a diver version in Mexican. Okay. If I don't dive, I half-ass can swim. Right. So, but this dude does, and he does a phenomenal job. So if I was that family, I'd be contacting this man to make sure those kids, because we heard him say he was running through the woods up to his neck in water, right? I would contact him. It don't hurt. It don't cost you nothing. I mean, he does it from donations from his viewers on YouTube and Facebook. I think he's bigger on Facebook than he is on YouTube, but he definitely gets results. Yes, gifted diver. All right, Dolly.
Dolly?
Yes.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
This is Trish from Huntersville, North Carolina.
Hey, Trish, how's it going?
Wanted to kind of talk about a relative of mine that went missing in 1999. Naturally, we knew that the husband had lied, and he was the one that killed her. And she, her name was Patty Jo Pulley.
Patty Jo.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but he threw her. He strangled her and threw her off a bridge, and she was found in 2002. Thank God, by a surveyor that was sent down there to check out everything, and he found her.
Okay.
So yeah, I didn't know if you ever heard of it.
Never heard of it. I had a friend named Sammy Joe, and she was murdered too.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's why I feel these kids are not here with us. Because I've been through this, and she was my cousin, and she was only 37 years old.
Wow.
Played piano beautifully. She was just a wonderful religious girl.
How many years did it take to find her?
2002. They found her. The surveyor went down,
and she went missing in what?
Under a bridge.
What year did she go missing?
1999.
Oh, so it took her 3 years.
On Mother's Day, of all days.
Wow.
And he had scratches on his face, and he said that he had been looking for her, and he got the scratches, in the woods.
Oh.
And he had what gave him away completely was he had her fingernail scratch right down his face.
Man,
it was there.
At least she fought back. At least she fought back and left some signs.
Yeah, and it was a religious cult that she had gotten involved in with him.
Oh,
and she was lovely girl, and she was very.
We lost. Did we lose you? I think we lost her. Patty Jo Pulley, R.I.P. to her, and prayers to her family. Wow, that reminds me of Caitlin Hart just the other day, right? Husband, Vinny. I contacted him, tried to get him, to talk. He wouldn't talk. I spoke with her best friend, which is Vinny's sister, and they kind of disowned Vinny, the family. I guess we lost her. All right. But the odds are you're more likely to be hurt or killed by somebody that allegedly loves you or associated with than a complete stranger. And just like I told her to Joe, when I hear the Joe as the middle name, my friend Sammy Joe was murdered, which was a crazy story. Like, I had talked to her and she told me she was scared of this dude and she had been hiding out from him, some guy she was dating. And I've known Sammy Joe for years and I never known her to be scared of anything. She's kind of like a tomboy and real pretty girl, just tomboyish, like one of the fellas. And I had never seen her scared of nothing. And she told me, she said, this dude beat and raped her and it was her boyfriend. But even if you're not willing, and it's still the same thing. It don't matter if you're dating. If the girl says no, it's no. But he beat her up real bad and sexually assaulted her. And she had him arrested. But she was scared that he would get out. And she was hiding. Okay. And she told me when I seen her, I had never seen her act like that. And so she was living with my buddy. Well, she was, but she was scared that he knew that house. So she left and went to stay with this other guy I know, just to hide out. And crazy as this sounds, they give this dude a bond. He bonds out of jail, right? This is the crazy thing. Now, he goes to his baby's mama and gets a ride to the house that my friend lives in because that's the last place he known she lived. But she knew he knew that address, so she hid. He goes there. My buddy lives there. He hears a knock at the door. He goes to the door, and there's a man standing there with a gun in his face and shoves his way into the house. Okay, now he's at gunpoint, getting beat with the gun. And the guy demands him call her. Okay, now Sammy Joe, super sweet girl. She had this dog. It's this little mutt dog, ugliest little damn dog in the world, right? His name is NASA. The dog is. So he made my buddy call her and tell her that NASA had got ran over because she had left the dog. Right? The dog was there. NASA was at the house. He didn't get ran over. It was just a lie. He wanted her to show up at that house. And he's already inside the house with her roommate at gunpoint. Okay, my buddy. And I'm surprised he's alive right now. I honestly am surprised he's alive because he was going to die that day. It's a miracle he's alive. And I think Sammy Joe saved his life. He calls her, which he's going to probably regret this forever. He calls her and tells her that the dog has been ran over. Okay. And this dude's still going to court too, this guy. That the dog has been ran over and she needs to get there immediately. Sammy Joe loves this dog. Sammy Joe's only right down the street. She's only technically 4 blocks away. And she's like, all right, I'm on my way. When she walks into the house, the guy has a gun. Now he has the gun on both of them. Now this is where it gets a little sketchy because they ain't testified in court, so he don't say everything. But whatever transpired in the house, he started like assaulting her with the gun. Okay, like hitting her with it, and he's screaming and he's like unhinged, and all of a sudden, now the lady downstairs, I know, I bought my Corvette from her. Right, she's the lady that sold me my Corvette. And it was a gift from her boyfriend, and she ended up liking the truck better. So she sold me the car. Right. So it just happened to be she was coming home, and she lives in the apartment downstairs, and there's this metal awning that goes over the first floor that separates the floors. Like, so it rains, you can stand out on the porch. Sammy Joe runs and jumps out the second story window. Okay. When she does, she hits the awning, rolls down the awning, and as the lady that's walking in the house that sold me my Corvette, she lands on top of the lady, like crushes her, like hits, like she don't even see her coming. She just happens to be walking in as she's falling out the fucking sky and lands right on top of the lady. When she does, both of them, of course, hit the ground. And when Sammy Joe goes to get up, she's hurt. And she's trying to run, but she can't. She's like limping, and I guess she hurt her leg or her hip or whatever. The dude, and when she does that, the dude runs towards the window, and my buddy jumps up and runs out the side door of the house. There's an emergency exit down the side. He runs out the side door. The dude with the gun chases Sammy Joe, runs out the house, and shoots her 6 times in the driveway of the house. And he's on the phone, right? Because the neighbor told me that as he was doing it, he shot her. He grabbed his phone. He was on the phone with somebody, and then he ran out the driveway. He did this, had his baby's mama pick him up. Okay. So the baby mama dropped him off to kill this girl, Sammy Joe. The baby mama picked him up. Right. And this whole time he's jealous of a girl when he's in a relationship with a woman and a kid. It is the craziest thing. So he went to court last year, and then they continued it, and he still hasn't been prosecuted for murdering my friend Sammy Joe. So that was a crazy one, right? I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. And when I should have knew something was bad when she was scared. Right? Because this is a girl that hangs out. She's like one of the fellas. All her friends are dudes. If she wanted to have you beat up, she could have you beat up, right? She could be like, yo, this dude's messing with me. And her friends would take up for her, even me, right? Because she's been around us since we've been kids. So she's just like one of the fellas to us. But he murdered her, and just cold blood. Like, and I believe he was going to kill both of them that day in that house. Danny was just a bystander, the guy that was there. He was just a bystander, and he was about to die. If she hadn't jumped out the window and things hadn't went the way, well, he was going to kill both of them. There's just no doubt. Danny knew that, right? And I think she knew that too. Like, we're going to have to fight for our life. And she just lost that fight, but she tried her best to get away, and he could only get one of them. And that is what saved Danny. Terrible. And I mean, this chick was cool as shit, man. And I hope he pays the price. I can't get over the $600 water bill, Dolly. $800 water bill. 600 wouldn't be so bad. It's 800. All right. $800 water bill. Good Lord. All right. Yeah. I mean, what do you do when you know somebody's going to kill you? And she was saying it, this dude will kill me. He'll kill me, and like I said, that's the first time I've ever seen her scared of anything, only time I ever seen her scared. And she had perfectly good reason. Yeah, he's okay. He's okay. He's alive and well, and he's going to testify in court. He's one of the main witnesses to what went down because he was held at gunpoint. Yeah, that is traumatizing. What the hell? Yeah. I mean, he has to live with that too, because that's his friend. We're all friends. You know what I'm saying? We all known each other since we were kids. He's gonna have to deal with that phone call he made. You know what I'm saying? Because some people look at it like, yeah, you should have took one for the team, but you're talking about your life. And maybe he didn't know, and just fear and being scared. I mean, you got somebody that will actually kill you. You're going to usually do what they say. And he did. And it caused Sammy Joe her life. So, and I mean, he has to deal with that. That's demons that he'll have to fight for the rest of his life from making that phone call. And we all friends, so all of us understand it, right? We all get it. Like nobody's mad at him, about making the call, because if you hadn't made that call, you would have got killed, and he had planned on murdering somebody. He planned on killing people, and he would have probably killed you and then went and found Sammy Joe and killed Sammy Joe too. So, I mean, it's just one of those situations where it wasn't a good situation. The dude's a psycho, and he needs to be in prison. And if he hadn't been out on bond, he'd have never killed Sammy Joe. And that's after she reported him being beat and raping her, and horrible drugs. The dude was on drugs, and to just say no. I mean, he's gonna spend the rest of his life in prison. He's in jail now. He ain't even in prison, but he'll be going to prison soon, because I think her court case is coming up here soon. So yes, justice for Sammy Joe, man. I couldn't believe it. Sorry to hear about your friend. How sad. Piece of crap. Hopefully jailhouse justice is served. Yeah, so far it hasn't been. He's still alive and in jail. I'm surprised he's made it this long, in jail, because the jail's ran by people that we all grew up with. That's the crazy part. You know what I'm saying? All our friends run to jail. You know what I'm saying? They're deputies, but, is anybody going to, do anything? I don't know. I think all my friends are good people, and I don't think they would risk their careers and their livelihood and their families to hurt this guy. They're just doing their job, but they work at the jail. So Sammy Joe had a lot of friends in a lot of places, so I don't know. I'm surprised he's still alive, to be honest. I mean, she had a lot of friends. So your friends are the deputies at the jail? Yeah, I grew up with a lot of dudes that work at the jail. A lot of them were starting to retire, but yeah, all the dudes I used to hang out with in elementary school, they all work at the jail. Like a bunch of my buddies, they ended up being deputies and they went to work at the jail. And it's like, when one person gets a job somewhere and then they bring on the next person, then they bring on the next person. Next thing you know, the whole crew is working at the jail. Yeah, so I knew a bunch of the deputies that work at the jail. So what happened to the older lady? What, the lady that she fell on top of? The lady that sold me the car? Nothing. He ran right past her. He didn't do nothing to her. He ran right past her and shot Sammy Joe right in front of her. That's he had who he wanted to get, and he where's Sammy Joe's dog? Her daughter got the dog. Okay. So her daughter ended up getting the dog. So I don't know. But NASA, the dog, is still alive, and it belongs to her daughter now. So they have a group for her. They have a Facebook group. I think it's called Justice for Sammy Joe. This happened, 3 years ago? And he still ain't went to court. Hold on. Let me look. Here we go. Justice for Sammy Joe. Oh, here she is. Oh, this is sad. There's NASA. See the little dog? Yeah. Poor Sammy. She was a cool chick. Let me see if it says any updates about her court. What the hell? Now he's getting another psych eval in January, so the trial won't start on Monday. And that was October 22nd, 2024. So he ain't went to court yet. I knew there was something that was holding it up. You see, people, this is total bullshit. I agree with Barbara. He got a psych evaluation yesterday, and they're reviewing it on the 21st. Trial is set for October 28th, but it didn't happen. Okay, it's the 16th. Okay, the trial's the 16th. I'm going to have to show up to that. Yeah, I hope this dude rots in hell. This dude is a piece of, oh my God. So the court date is the 16th. I'm glad I looked. Yeah, that was her. No, because it was, this was October 2024. So they moved it to July of this year. Let me see what else it says. But yeah, that's super sad. Yeah, I don't know about the psych evaluation. It's listen, because you're on drugs, don't make you crazy and make you do crazy stuff. Right? Victims need more rights, yes. I mean, he'll pay, you know what I'm saying? He'll definitely pay. And it's just a matter of time. His name was Mark Leary. So anyway, guys, it's 3:00 in the morning. I've been here with you guys for 3 hours. I hate to end it on a sad note like that. You know what I'm saying? But if that is popping off on the 16th, I'm gonna have to go to that. And I want to see this dude get life in prison. Virginia, we don't execute you no more. Dolly, I'm curious, do you know what time Daniel's brother came outside or arrived at the house? Dad, I don't know. But his brother is weird. His brother act like he didn't give two damns, you know, especially on that 4-wheeler. I don't know. I don't know. I'm suspicious of all of them though. Somebody thanks Dolly for covering Jack and Lily. Not a problem. Don't forget Sebastian or any of these missing kids. They're all important, right? Each one of them. And I wanted to touch back in on Sebastian because, you know, we haven't had a chance to talk about Sebastian in a while. And I don't want people to forget Sebastian. I don't want Hendersonville, you know, to stop doing their job down there. The police need to do something, right? Rattle some cages, something. But people getting away with what appears to be murder, you know, and now I don't know who did what, but I have my suspicions. I have no proof, right? I don't want to blame anybody for anything when there's no proof, but there is a lot of suspicion and there's a lot of inconsistencies and weird behavior, you know, that I do see in common with the Jack and Lily situation. You know, everybody in Sebastian thought he was hid too and he was going to come home. Yeah, I don't think so many people think that anymore. This had to be one of the saddest stories, Dolly. Justice for Sammy Joe. Yeah, I mean, it's so sad because she was my homegirl. She was my friend. I mean, we've been friends for 20 years, you know, and from the same neighborhood, grew up together. And I had just seen her too, and she was telling me, that she was in fear. I didn't, honestly, I didn't take it super serious, right? Because I just knew Sammy Joe to be a tough girl, right? Like, just a tough chick, like I said, kind of tomboyish and not scared of anything. But it should have been a huge red flag when she was scared, because she's never scared of nothing, right? She's not a fearful, scared, timid woman. And to see her scared, and she told me that she was beat and these things were done to her. And I still never thought in a million years that the outcome would be the way it is, right? And like there were signs that maybe she should have been hid a little bit better or better protected. But at the time, nobody knew. None of us knew. A lot of people are crazy. You don't know the level of crazy, right? But whoever would have been around her, this dude would have killed you. Like he wasn't scared to kill her, and he did this in front of people and got a ride from his baby mama to do it, right? So you wouldn't want to have been with her when this dude showed up. He would have killed everybody, and people like that don't need to be on the streets. There's fucking crazy people out there, So it is what it is. And if I think if I could go back in time, I would change. I would have hit her somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Gave her some money and said, look, leave the state or get the hell out of Dodge, take your dog with you and run. But nobody's seen it really coming. We knew there was a situation. Everybody did. She told everybody. She told what happened to her. She wasn't like, hiding the fact that this dude had beat her up real bad and did these things to her. And she put him in jail. And I think that's what scared her, that the possibility that he may get out of jail. So I guess when he was doing these things to her, he was telling her, I'll kill you. I'll do this to you. I'll do that to you. And he got out. I mean, this is one of those things where her family should probably sue the system for letting him out with such serious charges. And believe it or not, he had just got out of jail for beating up his baby's mama. Right? He done beat up his baby's mama. He's cheating on her with some other girl, kills that girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell? Right? Like, it's like a Jerry Springer story that ends in murder. So, but thank God everybody else was okay, because there was a lot of people there, outside the house. At the next house over, there's kids and there's people that were on the front porch. So this happened in front of a lot of people. What happened inside, they didn't see. But once it spilled out into the front of the house, the neighbors seen it. The lady that sold me my car seen it, and he just murdered her in front of everybody. And it ain't like he just, shot her. He shot her 6 times. There's no way you think you're going to shoot somebody 6 times and they're going to live. And believe it or not, I think only one of the shots were fatal. The other one hit her a couple of them hit her in the leg and in the shoulder and the arm. But I think one of the shots were, well, we know that one of them was fatal, but I think she was only hit one time fatally. So if it had been off just a little bit, she may be here. I mean, I don't know, but it only takes that one bullet to kill you, right? So prayers to her and her family, and to Jack and Lily. Let's pray that they're found and answers come, just like Sebastian and Summer and all these kids. And listen, not to doom and gloom you tonight. I hope everybody has a happy 4th of July. Be careful. Everybody's off tomorrow. Everybody's going to be partying. Everybody's going to be drinking. A lot of people like to pull a Karen Reed, drink and drive. So even if you're sober, be careful, because there's other people on the road that you can't control. So be safe. Don't go anywhere you don't really need to go, because of people drinking and driving, and we don't want to see anybody lose their life out there. But have a great 4th of July. Make sure you enjoy it. Eat a burger and a hot dog for Dolly. I ain't supposed to eat a lot of red meat. Okay. I may eat some chicken or something tomorrow, but no steak or no hot dogs for me. So eat one for me. Happy 4th of July, you beautiful people. And leave me some comments and discuss what you think about the Sebastian Rogers case, Jack and Lily, and of course, Little Summer Wells. Until I see you guys tomorrow, if I see you tomorrow, because it's a holiday, I can't promise you nothing. Me and PJ may go out. Be safe. And remember this, if nobody else does, Dolly loves you. Peace.